The Reds bullpen failed again, and Joe Burrow is making a big change. That and more right now on First Word.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
Happy Thursday and welcome in to First Word. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And plenty to dive into. The Reds shoulda, coulda, woulda had a series victory in San Diego. We will dive into their collapse again right here on First Word coming up in just a bit. But we have to start with a big change that Joe Burrow is making. And one, the fact that all of these offseason moves have happened and Joe Burrow is still looking internally to get better, I think is extremely noteworthy. So let's start there. The Joe Burrow restructure obviously grabbed headlines on Tuesday. The Bengals found a way to free up more cap space. And this interview with the Men's Journal, really interesting here, in our guy Marcus Hartman, because Joe Burrow saying that he's trying to build team camaraderie a bit more, and that means bonding with his new teammates, his current teammates, and quote, I'm going to consciously kind of get out of that mindset and try to push myself out of my comfort zone and build some new and hopefully long-lasting relationships. I think this is interesting. And he went on to say, yeah, I'm not necessarily the best relationship guy, communication guy. I'm not shocked by that we would say that. But from a leadership standpoint, he's going to be 30 in December. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think it's fair to think and expect him to continue to develop as a leader if he's going to be this MVP-like player, this Super Bowl champion, all the things that he's hoping to achieve this year. Yeah,
absolutely. And I don't think there's ever been a question about Joe Burrow's leadership. So reading something like that, I just think it's a phenomenal move that he wants to go that extra little step, extra mile to get to know some of his new teammates in the building, because there have been a lot of changes in this Bengals locker room. But also look at it at the other side, where Joe Burrow is so respected that it's almost like if you have a problem with Joe Burrow, or if you can't get along with Joe Burrow, I think that's a you thing and not a Joe thing.
I certainly think so. And I think my main takeaway from this is obviously that he's working to get better at other aspects of the game. He's figured out how to play quarterback. When he's on the field, he does it at as high of a level as anyone in the NFL. But the two talking points throughout Joe Burrow's career so far have been obviously A, the injuries, and B, vocal leadership. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the next step he really needs to take in order to, elevate this team and elevate himself into that next echelon of players. And it's great that he's aware of that and working towards that. And I think this just further emphasizes everything we've said leading up to camp and leading up to this season is Joe Burrow's someone you can rely on. And when he says stuff, he means it. And when he's working on anything, he's working to get better. And that's what's such a great thing to have Joe Burrow being the quarterback of this franchise, is that he's always going to be there putting his best foot forward.
He said, quote, building relationships has never been my strong suit. Change isn't exactly my favorite thing in the world. I moved around a lot when I was little, and the thing that I always hated most about it was I had to make new friends. So it's certainly a challenge, but that's growing and evolving as a person, as a player, and critically thinking about where you're at. And I think that's important because what they've done, Joe included, hasn't been good enough. It's been 24 and 27 over 3 seasons. Obviously, there are a lot of reasons for it. Injuries, lack of free agent movement, lack of talent, all of those things. But when I think of Tom Brady, when I think of Peyton Manning, I didn't worry about this department. And that's the realm he's in. He's in that realm. Like, that's where I'm not comparing him to Kyler Murray was brought up earlier this week, right? Or Lamar Jackson or whoever. No. Like, Joe needs to be thought of in that light 20 years from now. It's like, oh, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and then they pass the baton to Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. That's where he needs to get to. And if he's going to get there, he needs to be able to be a leader, not just example-wise, but from an approachable standpoint. And here's the other thing that I think is a factor now, because he's entering year 7, is his star. He's a mega star that a lot of these guys were kids when they watched him at LSU now. As weird as it sounds, they were 13 watching him at LSU, and now Colby Young's catching passes from Joe Burrow. Like,
right.
That's a thing that he needs to adjust to as well, so he is approachable in the locker room. And so I do think that the self-awareness, he's usually pretty self-aware. I think this shows some self-awareness, and it's a good step in the evolution. Assuming he can achieve it and make the change, I think it does have an impact, especially when you hit that rough terrain mid-October. You lost 2 straight games. You're trying to rebound. Colby Young just drops a ball in the end zone. Whatever the case is, I'm mentioning him because he's the rookie that they're going to deal with. Dylan Fairchild misses a block and it costs them the game. Whatever it is, one of these young guys, I think it's important for your star quarterback to be approachable.
Absolutely. You want him to be the voice in the locker room, and the way that you can, take those constructive criticism and things like that is when you become approachable and when you have relationships with those players. And I think this is really the next step for Burrow, because the only difference between him and Brady and Manning and all those great leaders of the past, really, if you want to break it down, it's not the numbers, it's not the quarterback play, it's the fiery moments on the sideline and stuff like that where you see him screaming and getting, a little bit more animated and emotional. And sure, there's some of those in Joe Burrow's career so far, but I think that vocal nature is just something that maybe doesn't come as naturally to him. And it's great that he's continuing to change kind of who he is to try to give the team the best chance to win games.
Yeah, so you talk about him being self-aware. It's a very mature thing for him to do and realize as well. And we got excited when we saw he was out eating tacos with Dexter Lawrence and just making that connection with some of the defensive players. I think that's my bigger takeaway, because we know how close this offense is and how him, Jamar, and T, Mike have spent time together this offseason. I don't think there's any question how close he is with Ted Karras, Orlando Brown Jr., some of the other guys on that offensive line. But I think him saying this is him almost like reaching out more to some of the new defensive players, some of those maybe guys on defense that he hasn't spent as much time with. And who knows, maybe that can help in a different realm too, as last year Zach Taylor was saying they needed someone to step up on the defensive side and be a leader in that room. Well, maybe some of Joe Burrow's leadership can rub off on some other individuals.
I feel like a lot of the additions to the defensive side of the ball this year, obviously raising the talent level quite a bit, evening out the expectations for offense and defense this year, even further emphasizes the importance of having everyone in the locker room be one team. Something I was concerned about over the last few years was how much does frustration creep into the locker room when the offense continues to do their job and it's not enough when the defense is allowing points every single time they're on the field. Now that the expectations are coming up to about the same level for this team, it's more of a team aspect here, and I think he's kind of taking that head on here and saying everyone needs to get on the same page.
Were you on the sideline for the Tennessee blow-up in 2024?
I was not at that game, no.
So, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it. I loved him storming off the field. What the bleep are we doing? I just put up the bleeping mental mistakes all bleeping day. Like, he just goes off.
Oh, yeah.
And the clip is out there, and we didn't get it prepared. That's what they need.
Yeah.
They need that guy that, there's that clip of Brady, and I'm a big Brady. He's like, we got to play more physical and tougher physical. And he's screaming, and they're down 28-3, and he's threw a pick six to make it 21-3 in the Super Bowl. But if you hold it to that standard, and you're holding yourself to that standard, and you have the rapport with your teammates, you can navigate those times, because Joe was right in that moment. He was right to be angry. And this idea that you enjoy the wins, well, yeah, you should enjoy the wins. But if you're going to be a Super Bowl contender, you can't have 8 false starts like they did on that Titans day, and that's why he was so frustrated. And it was embarrassing. That was the weirdest game ever, filled with turnovers and so. Elite quarterbacks are different, and if they're going to be elite leaders as well, and I do think in a lot of ways Joe checks a lot of these boxes, but for him to say, hey, this is the thing I need to improve at, not necessarily accuracy or anything. It's stay healthy and make sure you can lead. I think that goes a really, really long way, and I think Joe Flacco can help him in that area too, having a guy like that around for a second year. Flacco led last year, and he led before he was even in the building. Like, it was really quick how things turned around. And so, yeah, I think Joe the leader, I think he's been fine. I think that can become a strength, though, this year. And it'll be interesting to see if it does.
Absolutely. And adding strengths to Joe Burrow will just take him to a level that I don't think any of us have seen before. And that's the exciting thing.
He's about to be 30.
Right. And I think, we talk about veterans.
Old man.
something like that. But talking about veterans and all of these other position groups helping the young guys along. Dexter Lawrence, what he can do for the young guys on the D line. Brian Cook for the young, Jordan Battle and the other young guys in the DB room. But I think something that goes under the radar, we don't talk a lot about helping Joe Burrow. I think having Joe Flacco here is going to be a huge help for Burrow. Talked about just the football aspect of it, of how quickly he was getting the ball out last year, working within the offense was great when Flacco was in there. And then obviously being in the league so long, Joe's dealt with a lot injury-wise. He's working through a lot, both mentally and physically, I'm sure, every single year. Flacco's done it for a decade plus. I'm sure that helps a lot as well to take a little bit off Joe's plate and divvy that up a little bit to the locker room.
Could not agree more. That is a fantastic point. Just anything he can take away from Joe Flacco. I know we were talking a couple weeks ago, like, who do you think is going to have, one of the bigger, impacts in terms of some of the offseason moves? And we were talking about Joe Flacco having that impact off the field, because we really hope we don't see him out on the field too much this season, only when it's like, a blowout in the fourth quarter there. But no, just whatever he's able to do to help Burrow in any capacity, I think is going to go absolute miles for this team.
Yeah, they certainly need as much as they can to get back to not just the playoffs, but if they're going to get into Super Bowl contention. We have plenty of Bengals coming your way. But up next, boy, oh boy, these Cincinnati Reds. What is going on in Game 4 of the NBA Finals? I hope you didn't go to sleep, but if you did, we're going to have you covered in While You Slept next, right here on First Word.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
So he then gets back into the States, and that's when he hooks up with the Skyline family.
Well, they knew each other growing up.
Okay, yeah.
Down in downtown, and the Lambrinides family, it wasn't corporate, it was their family and their recipes. Asked my dad if he'd be interested, and he leapt at it. He couldn't wait. He jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, well, he's chef by trade, like you said, and now this opportunity
Loved the product, loved the simplicity of the product, loved the speed, loved all of it.
That's got to make it a lot easier when you really have a specific, belief and an enjoyment of the product itself. That probably helps with the plan there.
We loved cooking and eating, and he loved that concept. He loves Skyline's concept.
Yeah. Does the actual process of it, like you said, the ease with which it's, it may be easier to get something on the plate in front of people versus other types of restaurants, that played a role for him?
The simplicity of our concept is really special.
Yeah, and that's what's really sort of helped it take root, I think, over the years, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Are they also, I'm always interested in talking with people involved in various levels of business, whether it's a family business or something that they're looking to pass on. I mean, the idea of stewardship plays a big role. How does that look with your kids? Are they looking to move into?
The youngest is graduating from Ohio State, on Mother's Day.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. And he worked as an intern for a company in town and did not like office work.
Okay.
So he said, Dad, I think I want to do what you do. So he's going to be coming in at the ground level. You have to learn to crawl before you do the rest. So he will start and work with us and see where it takes him.
Well, I mean, that's how you came up, right? Being an 8-year-old wanting to follow Dad to work and
correct.
helping unload the trucks and everything.
Another rebound rundown update, this time for the Cincinnati Bearcats under first-year head coach Jared Calhoun coming over to Clifton from Utah State. And Jared Calhoun having to put together an entirely new roster this year for Cincinnati. Not a single returning player from last year's Bearcat team. Tylen Riley, the headline piece for this roster, a transfer in from Tulsa, the point guard of this group. Miles Colvin, a transfer from Wake Forest, somebody who has national championship game experience from his time at Purdue in that game against UConn. Tyler Tejada out of the CAA from Towson. Riley Allensbach from George Mason. Travion Carson, Jaden Hastings. Eric Mahaffey, the local product from Moeller. Spent his first year at Akron, now finds his way down to UC, plus 3 players who already have experience in Jared Calhoun's system from Utah State. That is a fantastic balance. You have to have a group that has played for a head coach before. Jared Calhoun has that. Much more coverage of the Bearcats on the Rebound Rundown. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And boy, oh boy, they tricked me. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 4. The Reds, they keep doing it some more. They fool me and fool me and fool me again. I thought they were going to win. I said, Brady Singer singing. They're hitting home runs. Eugenio Suarez showed up, and it was going to get done. And then that bullpen. You can't trust him. You can't win with him. You can't play with him. You can't do it.
I really thought after seeing Brady go 6 innings, I'm like, oh, we're good. This is what we needed.
He was singing a song.
He was singing.
He was good. Brady Singer.
He was good. And I didn't think there was any way good was going to be the word. Maybe good enough could have been played today, but good is certainly a shocker and such a huge win for this Reds team moving forward if Singer's going to be the guy.
Yep. And it's tough. And let's dive into it here while you slept. The Reds lose. They blow it again. And if you get that outing from Brady Singer, if you have the lead late, you have to take advantage of it. Yeah. And it would have felt much different had they gotten this one. They win 4th. Let's say they would have had to go to extras. The bullpen blows if they go to extras and win 5-4. It still feels a bit different. Mm-hmm. But you go up 4-2. You get what you get out of Singer. You got it. That has to be it. And your guy, Tony Santillan, doesn't deliver, fails, and then Chase Petty, who they flew there for this game, gives up the walk-off home run.
Well, it shows you how tough of a place this bullpen's in. If you're going to throw one of your top starting pitching prospects, fly him across the country, and have him essentially try to close a baseball game, I mean, this bullpen is in a really tough spot right now. But one exciting thing over the weekend, Zach Maxwell, back-to-back starts without a walk. First time he's done that at any level so far this year. So maybe they found a piece in Big Sugar.
And a little surprising, too, that Caleb Ferguson struggled the way he did because he had been pitching pretty well for, the month of June and even this couple outings there in May, too. So it's one of those things where you were going to be relying on just a few guys in that bullpen and just a tough day where guys aren't able to come in and kind of get the job done. And it's just overall disappointing. Like, I really thought they had that win last night.
And the mind-boggling thing with Ferguson, both doubles he gave up yesterday to left-handed hitters. Yeah. He was brought in here to be the lefty you can trust in the bullpen. To give up 2 doubles to back-to-back left-handed hitters last night was really shocking to me. He's struggled against lefties all year so far this year, which was not the expectation when they spent the money on him in this offseason.
No doubt. He needs to figure it out. This bullpen in shambles. Here's Terry Francona after the loss.
Yeah. He knew he was coming in that inning. And I told him before the game I would not bring him in a middle of an inning. So when we got Tony up for the 8th, we got him up so he could warm up kind of regular. I actually didn't think he made a real bad pitch. When the ball was hit, I was kind of looking at my lineup card like, okay, we're going to have an open base. What do we want to do? I didn't think that ball was going to get out. Well, I think they're handling themselves really well. They compete every day. The results are not what we want. There's no getting around that. I'm not going to sit here and say a month ago I love these guys and now we've lost some games and I hate them, because that's not how I feel. We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle together. We're going to figure it out together. And, got a guy like Tony Santillan who's pitched 3 out of 4, and he's in here wanting to fight me so he can pitch today. That shows me you guys care.
That's Terry Francona. Obviously, the Reds are just struggle. It's struggle bus, struggle city. J.J. Bleday had a nice day with the home run. Brady Singer, heck of an outing. Mm-hmm. You take that all day long. Hopefully, that's the sign of things to come. And yet, 9 left on base, 4 runs, and a bullpen that blew it again. And look, you can win together, lose together, sing Kumbaya together. It doesn't matter. What really matters is they're 32-35. They're 9.5 back in the Central. They're 3 back in the wild card spot, which is getting farther and farther away, it feels like. The Diamondbacks, Phillies, and Cardinals there atop the wild card standing. So, there's not a lot to be optimistic about. An off day, much needed for the Reds today. But my goodness, this bullpen, I don't know where they go, but they need to find a fix fast, and I'm not sure it's there. I guess the one thing hope-wise, Brady Singer coming on, having a nice outing when you had to have it. If you would have told me that he goes 6 and gives up 2, I would have said, well, the Reds win.
Mm-hmm.
And it really stinks that we're talking about 32-35 and not a series victory, 33-34 on the year.
Yeah, it's June 11th. We'd like to be talking about the National League Central, but it's hard for me to not look at the wild card every now and then. And obviously, we're not standings watching in June, but as of right now,
we are.
The Padres, I just mean in terms of the National League wild card and seeing what teams to get, because that can all change so drastically. But as of right now, and the expectation before the season, the Padres are holding one of those spots. Don't get a lot of chances to play the San Diego Padres. This would have been a massive series for the Reds to win around this wild card conversation later in the season. So I have a worry that we're going to be looking back at these two games. Abbott's start, a game that the Reds should have had a better chance to win than they did. And then obviously the unfortunate events of yesterday afternoon, Fernando Tatis's second home run of the year, a walk-off series winner. We might be looking back at this series in beginning of June when the Reds are outside looking in at the wild card in September.
Gosh, I sure hope not. They need to figure out something in this bullpen, whether it's pulling up a different arm down in Louisville. I don't know who that would be at this point, but
Julian Aguilar is probably your best bet.
They need some kind of change or catalyst, or maybe that's making a move. I mean, this is the 11th bullpen loss since May 1st. It's just unacceptable in that regard. They need some kind of help in that bullpen. Hopefully some of these guys coming back from injury come a little bit sooner too. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to say at this point about the bullpen.
Per Fangraphs, a meltdown is when a reliever's win probability added is minus 0.06 or worse. So you're affecting your team's chance to win by 6% or more negatively. The Reds bullpen has 35 meltdowns since May 1st. That is by far the most in baseball. The Tigers won 6 games in the month of May. They are second on that list with 27. So almost 10 less than the Reds for the worst team in baseball last month.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. And Give Me the Keys is at 8:45. Jacob Tissett's going to take the keys. I wonder what he's going to do. I know it's Reds-based. It isn't NBA-based, but you know what is NBA-based is the NBA Finals Game 4, and it was a wild one. Hopefully you stayed up and you watched it. If you didn't and you were like me and you woke up with a minute left or under a minute left, my goodness, did you catch a wild finish. The Knicks rally. The best rally, biggest rally, craziest rally in NBA history. 29 points down. They were down 20 with 9 minutes to go. And boy, oh boy, they come back. They stun the Spurs to take a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. I got to be honest, I'm floored that, one, things changed after that Taylor dance you just saw. Brunson hit that
super
three.
Fan, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she was never cheering on the Cavs. She showed up for the game to support Travis. But regardless, wild that the Knicks, best comeback in NBA Finals history, one of the best comebacks, if not the best comeback in NBA playoff history.
Yeah, certainly not taking anything away from the Knicks. A great comeback, but an unbelievable choke by San Antonio. First team in NBA history to have 76 or more points in the first half, 30 or fewer in the second half. Not just the playoffs, not just the finals. Any game in NBA history, regular or postseason.
How good is he?
The long lead change of the game.
Yep,
and
one.
For the Spurs, it's now their 5th blown double-digit lead of the postseason, tied for most in a single playoff run in the play-by-play era, tying the Spurs, who did it 5 times as well in 2003. And especially just the fact that they weren't able to close out at the end of the game. I mean, Wemby couldn't hit a shot there in the final minutes too. Just very uncharacteristic, and I'm sure they're going to be looking back at why didn't Fox just hold on to the ball there? Why did you try to go up for the layup?
A lot of De'Aaron Fox questions after last night. Most dangerous player on the inbound, always the inbounder, and he's just watching that shot go up instead of getting a body on OG Anunoby. Obviously, OG flies in, gets the tip to win. It was a mind-blowing blown lead. 9.5 minutes left in the third, up nearly 30 points. And then you lose by 1. Wemby missed 2 free throws with 1:47 left in the game. That has gone untalked about for the most part, basically because of that Fox shot at the end. An inexplicable shot, up a point with just seconds left on the clock. Didn't have to shoot. And he took the shot and then immediately fouled around half court. De'Aaron Fox last night had 44 touches in the second half, the most by any Spur by a pretty wide margin. Only 5 of those touches for Fox touched the paint. He is not a jump shooter at all. Never really has been in his career. He shot 2 of 6 with 2 turnovers when defended by OG Anunoby. That was the only matchup the Spurs took more than 6 shots against an individual defender. So I don't know why they chose to run this whole second half through De'Aaron Fox, but it certainly came back to bite them.
Well, let's be honest. The Spurs let their foot off the gas. They started hoisting threes. They were like, oh, we're going to coast. We're going to win. And the 29 in the third quarter is one thing. They were up 20 with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Like, the Knicks hit them with a few different counter punches in the third quarter, and the Spurs responded and said, hey, we're still going to be up 20. The thing that I have to apologize for, OG Anunoby, I was familiar with your game, but I apologize because I thought Game 3 was going to be the OG game and that the Knicks wasted it. And then you go out there, you hit 7 threes, score 33 points, and have the biggest play, potentially, assuming you guys can get this done in Knicks history. What a crazy play, skying for that, getting it, making it. And it felt like, you don't remember this, you may remember this. It was against your Pacers, though. The Larry Johnson. I was at a Dave & Buster's in 1999. Didn't really understand. I was 8. Didn't understand the moment. But Larry Johnson hits the 3 in the Garden, gets fouled, and makes the free throw for the Knicks to beat the Pacers. This is bigger than that because it's the NBA Finals. I remember that moment. Where were you when OG skied for the game winner and the craziest comeback ever in NBA Finals history? That's definitely going to be something that we talk about.
We should stop talking about OG games. OG games are done.
He's just
it's
that guy.
the OG series. At this point in the finals, he's averaging 23.8 points per game, 4 rebounds, almost 4 threes per game.
That's the big one, man.
It's the most efficient 20-point per game finals ever.
Wow.
He's averaging 58, 56, 92 from the field, 78% true shooting. OG Anunoby has been incredible throughout this playoffs. And this
MVP?
I can't wrap my head around why Brunson still is.
I think Brunson will still be MVP.
He will.
He was 12 of 25 yesterday. It was big for them. He was the
Merry Christmas.
only guy that showed up in the first half, I feel like.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Honestly, like in the second quarter, they were down, and in the second quarter, he was trying, and they could not. I was just like, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be 2-2. And this is, with any epic collapse or comeback, however you want to view it, it's 50%, wow, what a comeback, and 50%, man, I can't believe they did that.
For sure.
They got tight, and this young team got tight. There's no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And they kind of let the Cavs off the hook for the worst loss of this playoffs by, kind of one-upping them last night. But
I forgot about that one.
Exactly.
I was about to say cover your ears. I think this ends the series just as much as the Cavs blown lead in Game 1 does.
Yeah, I feel like the Spurs are going to have a tough time coming back from this one. But also,
All
real
it takes
quick,
is one.
That's
Actually,
true. It's going to take 3, but
All it takes is one to get going, though. Think about it. You win one in San Antonio, it's all the pressure on the Knicks to get it done at MSG.
Just like last night.
No doubt. The coaching element here. Mike Brown's doing laps.
The discrepancy is shocking.
Greg Popovich just needs to come down and coach Game 5.
Mitch Johnson.
There's no way Mitch Johnson, that's on him for the blown lead as much as anybody.
So much conversation throughout these playoffs, really leading up to the Western Conference Finals, was that the Spurs haven't done it before with this core, and you can't win a championship in your first go in the NBA. I think after the Spurs beat the Thunder, that kind of left the conversation a little bit, but I think we kind of overlooked Mitch Johnson's first big run in the playoffs as well. Wemby's proven he can do it. Harper looks great in moments. Fox, before last night, has been an engine. But Mitch Johnson, multiple times in this playoff run, has made some head-scratching decisions.
Yeah, he really has. And I also just have to say, poor Falcons fans. I don't know what they, really did to deserve the, backlash on social that they are now having to relive by their blown lead to the Patriots back in that Super Bowl. Poor Atlanta.
Every single professional sports blown lead just circles back to that Super Bowl.
One of my favorite days ever.
I'm sure.
I'm a big Brady. Real quick, story time. Big Brady fan. Is probably as big as there is in Cincinnati that didn't grow up in New England or have any Boston ties.
You just say we got one.
Huge. Yeah, I might be bigger than him.
Okay.
Willing to say that. Doesn't mean I know him or anything, but bigger Brady fan. I'm getting trash talked at this Super Bowl party from a Jets fan. One of my good friends, and he's like, man, it's okay. He's had a good run, and I'm like, I cannot believe this is happening. And then he throws the pick 6, and then it's 28-3. And then the next 20 minutes of game time was the most heavenly experience ever. So
just throw it to Julio.
Felt really good. You don't got to tell me who to throw it to.
I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, I get it, but that is what it is. Bob Huggins would have finished the game yesterday for the Spurs for sure. because he's one of the best college coaches of all time. There was a time, neither of you would probably remember this, where Bob Huggins was being courted by the Clippers to be their coach when he was at the University of Cincinnati.
Wow.
He stayed at UC, and he's a University of Cincinnati legend, going into the Athletics Hall of Fame. Well-deserved for Huggy Bear.
Yeah, great. Certainly one of the most iconic coaches in college basketball history and in UC history as well. So a rightful honor, no question about it. And glad he's getting the recognition he deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. Hall of Fame induction looks like it'll be happening October 23rd. So great to see this moment for Huggins and all of UC basketball.
Yeah, it is huge there for the Bearcats. Hopefully it's going to be a big season for the Bearcats. If you missed John Fanta on yesterday's show, he was did really good stuff on the NBA Finals. Also had some awesome stuff to say about UC and Xavier. So check that out on our YouTube channel at First Word Cincy. Up next, I see Reds, I see Bengals. Plenty to get to on a Thursday edition of First Word.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
You're not getting college. You went to school for drama.
Yes.
Which is, let me tell you what. If any creatives out there who are not actively creating, it makes you go crazy. And I have witnessed firsthand a creative who didn't professionally create and had to take care of so many damn kids and husbands along the way, and it drove you crazy for so long. Now, as a grown woman at this point and been in my career as long as I have so much perspective on your life and how you were in all of your 30s and your 40s, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, you created in your home. You made our homes were beautiful, but I feel like, oh my God, because when I don't create, I go nuts. Like, I go absolutely nuts.
I was busy. Obviously. I was busy with my children. And
Well, I'll say this. You had 4 kids by the time you were 28. We had a great life.
we did.
Yeah, we had a great life. We weren't the richest, we weren't the smartest, we weren't the anythingist ever. But we had a blast. We had a house, we had a dog, we had a pool, we went to school, we had a bunch of friends.
Thank God I had a rich mother. That helps a lot.
Man, I wonder what that's like. God.
You never know.
I won't. Not at all. So now if you could give me any advice at 40 years old, single girl, what would you say?
Get pregnant. Immediately.
Well, there we go. If anyone's got some
All
strong
of this
DNA.
show insemination, just make sure the guy is smart and handsome.
Okay. True.
Who has more yards, Mitch Tinsley or Odell Beckham Jr.?
Odell.
This year?
I think so.
Mitch Tinsley. I'll bet. What do you want to bet? Lunch.
Sure.
Lunch.
Works.
Clip it, Gabe. Lunch. There's no way Odell. And I'm a receiver guy. It's over.
I don't think he's going to be good.
It's over. Mitch Tinsley's good.
Yeah.
Mitch Tinsley probably starts for New York.
I don't disagree, but he doesn't start for the Bengals.
No
and
doubt.
Odell might start for the Giants.
Yeah. No, he won't.
You been Darius Slayton
Start?
fan?
Yes. Way better than Odell.
Yeah.
Odell hasn't played in a meaningful game.
Jalen Hyatt?
Since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl.
I did see some
Against the Bengals.
Yeah, some
Just to be
Dolphins
clear.
jerseys on the graphics yesterday.
He played for the Dolphins,
Yeah.
but he didn't play. Chad Johnson had a bigger impact for the Dolphins than Odell.
No, you're right. I'm certainly not expecting Odell to be a good
goodness.
receiver this year, but I do think he'll be on the field.
I can't believe I became the anti-wide receiver guy there. But yeah, give me Mitch Tinsley all day long. First Word rolls on a Thursday. Plenty to dive into, and unfortunately, well, those Reds, and you just saw GABP there, well, they lost again, dropping the series to the Padres, and they've lost their last 3 series. They've lost 2, one to the Royals, one to the Padres, swept over the weekend to the Cardinals. Just rough. It's been a rough 3-series stretch here for the Cincinnati Reds. The bullpen, a ton to blame. 4-2 in the 8th. It felt great. Brady Singer felt like he was getting it done and things were going to be fine, and instead they lose 5-4. I hate to say I'm not surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and it's 4 series in a row, which is just astronomically.
I was just thinking in my head the past 3.
You were trying to be too positive there.
Half, guys.
It does feel like a while.
Yeah.
What was that 4th series going all the way back?
Atlanta.
I forgot about
St. Louis,
Atlanta.
San Diego.
That was the one we chalked up like, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, that one was kind of a wash.
But yeah, the Royals, pain. This one, pain. Because
series you should win.
And Marisa spoke this into existence a few days. She was like, they could get 2 out of 3. And if you would have told me,
they could have.
For sure. If you would have told me Singer goes 6, gives up 2 runs, I'd be like, oh well, yeah, they'll get 2 out of 3. Abbott, Burns, and Singer quality start should be enough.
You're feeling good.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Chase Petty said no.
We've banged this table about the length of the starting pitchers for both weeks of the show now because of where the bullpen's at. You need 5-6 innings in order to have a chance, and now I don't really know what else there is left to ask for because they got that from the starting pitching, and the bullpen still wasn't able to get it done. Is it just every other game? You need everyone fresh and have your choice of the arms? I don't know what it is, but there's a point now where if the starters aren't going 9, I don't know how much faith I have. I mean, there's not really a single person coming out of that bullpen now that I have a ton of faith in being able to get 3 outs against any kind of heart of anyone's lineup.
No, and just looking at the roster there in the bullpen. Going into last night, I thought, okay, Caleb Ferguson had been pitching pretty well, but you bring up lefties are batting, I think, over 230 or 260 against him. At least Zach Maxwell had, another, decent, outing there too, and it's really tough. You're just looking at who's in the back end of that bullpen. Which way do they turn?
Yeah, lefties are batting 235 against Caleb Ferguson, who was brought here to be the lefty in the Reds bullpen.
They're batting 235?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know where you turn. Like the starting rotation, it's like, okay, well, you need to get healthy. Overall, Brady Singer, maybe he reverts back to his baseball card at some point, and now is showing signs of that over the past couple starts. And so now it's like, all right, well, how do you solve this bullpen? And I think that's it, is the bullpen issues very, very real. And the other thing here is the lineup consistency. We were talking earlier this week about Matt McClain coming around. Well, maybe not. Maybe he's just teasing us, and he's going to be up and down, and that's it. But they need some of these guys to step up, and they got that. J.J. Bleday continues to be consistent. Eugenio Suarez stepped up and did his thing. And so you get the quality start. You have those guys do that just for your bullpen to falter. Pain. Terry Francona talked about the painful 5-4 loss to the Padres afterward.
Yeah. He knew he was coming in that inning. And I told him before the game I would not bring him in a middle of an inning. So when we got Tony up for the 8th, we got him up so he could warm up kind of regular. I actually didn't think he made a real bad pitch. When the ball hit, I was kind of looking at my lineup card like, okay, we're going to have an open base. What do we want to do? I didn't think that ball was going to get out. Well, think they're handling themselves really well. They compete every day. The results are not what we want. There's no getting around that. I'm not going to sit here and say a month ago I love these guys and now we've lost some games and I hate them, because that's not how I feel. We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle together. We're going to figure it out together. And, got a guy like Tony Santillan that's pitched 3 out of 4, and he's in here wanting to fight me so he can pitch today. That shows me you guys care.
Terry Francona doesn't hate his players.
Good.
But guess what? I hate the way they're playing right now. I certainly hate the way the bullpen's playing. It's a game you have to win, should have won, and it. Is it a season change or anything like that? No, but the way this skid, the way they're on, Marisa mentioned it, 4 straight series losses. I forgot about the Atlanta one because we just kind of chalked it up to a loss. from the moment that series started. The Royals won, you get swept against a divisional opponent, and then you go on the road all the way west coast to San Diego, and you should have taken 2 out of 3. I think that was the reasonable outcome expectation, and they let him off the hook. And that's what it's been now. I get it. There's flaws, there's injuries, some guys aren't hitting well, but this bullpen continues to cost them games and is a major, major issue. The same way we talk about, Joe Burrow's offensive line needs to protect him, or what about the defense? What about the bullpen? I think that's very much where they're at right now.
Not only should you have won 2 out of 3, they were in position to sweep the series. Even though they only had the 2-1 lead there in Game 1, the bullpen still gave up 5 runs in the 7th and 8th inning of that first game.
Yeah, the 2 out of 3 conversation was banking on Burns and Abbott to do what both of them essentially did. And then getting this out of Singer was, a welcome surprise and should have set the Reds up for a potential sweep. But instead, they let it fall through their fingers. This was the 11th bullpen loss for the Reds since May 1st. 11 blown leads in 36 games. The Reds are 12-24 over those 36 games. 11 of those 24 losses coming from the bullpen. That is not something that can continue to happen, because at some point that's going to get to the starters. At some point that's going to get to the lineup, where every time you get to the 7th or 8th or 9th inning and you're not up by 2 or 3 runs, it's just, okay, we got to keep scoring. We got to keep going. There's no point in the game where the Reds can relax at any time, because the bullpen is going to keep the other team in it.
Yeah, and I hope this isn't the kind of loss, because right now we're sitting here and it's almost like a deflating kind of feel, because they had the game, they should have won the game, should have had the series. I really hope a loss like this and the fact that the bullpen had another blown lead doesn't have ripple effects throughout the rest of this clubhouse, because there has to be frustrations building, especially for the starting staff, where you have, Brady Singer, who goes out and gives arguably his best outing of the season, puts them in a position to win, and then once again the bullpen can't come through.
Part of it this feeling is like I felt, to a lesser extent because it's a longer season, but like after the Jets loss.
Yeah.
Or after the Bears. Maybe after the Bears, because it's like, again? Like, this is... Right. We saw this last season. Again? And that was obviously the Bengals defense. Well, the Reds bullpen and the Bengals defense are shaking hands right now. And I don't know how much help you can find, if they'll find it, but they need to do something, because what they're doing isn't working, and I don't think it's as simple as, all right, these guys are just going to play to the back of their baseball card. Like, you can do that with one guy. You can't bank on an entire bullpen, essentially, to come around and be that. And I get it. Pagan's out. And it is Hunter Green, your star reliever, like your star starter. He's not the relief version isn't on the injured list right now. And so I don't know what the answer is inside the organization.
And I think that's the problem right now, is that there isn't one. And if there is, they're a long way away, or it's extreme projection for a prospect who has had a good year so far, maybe in AAA. Julian Aguilar is the name I keep bringing up, because I think he does have a chance to help this bullpen this year, but it's really the only name left after Petty joined the bullpen yesterday, because that's been the conversation, is maybe you shift some of these starters there to get some more strength in the bullpen, but that seems like it didn't work yesterday. So I really don't know what the Reds' options are, unless they get aggressive and go for some kind of outside addition, which is a very hard thing to explain if you're the front office asking for that when this team's playing like they are right now.
More on the Reds, more on possible additions, what they can do to turn things around, coming up in 1 hour. But up next, it is time for our poll question, and it involves Joe Burrow. We'll get to those results next, right here on First Word.
We're on our way to the Bonbonnery. I'm excited. I'm from Cincinnati, and the Bonbonnery has been here forever, legendary. Today, we're gonna bake cookies and cakes and stuff and get a behind-the-scenes tour. And it's gonna be really fun and dynamic, and I love baking. I don't really like cooking as much. Cooking me kind of wigs me out, but I really like baking. Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, and today we're at the Bonbonnery here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Technically in O'Briensville Square. It is a bakery, a deli. It has a nice little cafe in it and a tea room. So let's go see everything about it today. Today I'm gonna make cookies and some cakes and just see exactly how it all works. Okay, so Pat, you're involved. What is your role here?
I run our wholesale department.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Pat and I know each other from high school, right?
Yeah, the neighborhood.
Cincinnati's
Mount Lookout,
small.
Hyde Park.
Cincinnati's small. We
Yep.
all know each other.
Yep.
And it is your aunt who.
Yeah, I call her an aunt. She's a cousin. Mary Pat Pace and Sharon
Gotcha.
Butler are the two owners.
Well, that's fantastic. Let's go check it out.
Let's do it.
You know, I did work in the food industry for a very long time. My parents had a restaurant, and then before that, I worked like in 25 different restaurants because I just kept getting promotions. Hi, great to see you. Great, how are you? Charlie, look how beautiful these things are. Oh, it's wild. I'm gonna try to make them just as pretty. We're getting the official behind-the-scenes tour. Look at these ladies. Ooh. Good morning.
So yeah, this is
hello.
our decorating team. Here's the cake
Oh my
team.
gosh. Wow, how many do you make at one time?
Right now, well, this is usually about half what we do, but this is about 60 as a 6-inch and about 20 of the 9-inch.
Wow.
Everything's made fresh, and we don't really have like a huge factory or commissary.
Hi, ladies. Hi, good morning.
Yeah, no, funny story. Every Friday, Cody Ford tries Scott Peters with some type of jiu-jitsu wrestling move. And Cody's never done jiu-jitsu or wrestling. And so the first time he did it, it took Cody probably, I'm going to say 9-10 weeks into the season to build up the courage to do this. And so every Friday he'd be like, man, I'm going to get Scott. And we think he was joking. So like I said, it's week 9 or week 10, whoever we're playing. And so we're in Friday, Scott's like putting a little zen in or something, and staring. And Cody comes behind him and tries to straight up put him in like a chokehold. And I never seen someone it was like out of a movie. Like he flipped Cody on his back, put him in something. It was, it was ridiculous. That's hilarious. Yeah, I just would recommend, man, if you live in the city of Cincinnati, don't mess with Scott Peters. So, yeah.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. What was that? What was that?
Need a coffee? Need some water?
I was about to make fun of you guys, and then
Make fun of us.
the voice god said no.
Let's be nice to that.
Yeah, I gotta be nice.
What on earth were you possibly going to come at us for?
Yeah. Well, I don't know now. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James. All right. Let's.
Wazowski.
You know what? He's wearing green. He's croaking like a frog over here.
Frogger.
That's good.
All right, there we go. I'm not gonna rib it, but because I don't think it would sound great here. But yeah, my throat is fine now. I don't know what that was.
Weird.
I shouldn't have. I gave you the hezzy. They looked at me. We were coming back, and I gave it like a second, and I was looking down, and they were like,
Well, yeah, because Gabe gave the cue, and you were just like.
And then I was like, oh, I got it. And then
didn't happen.
And then the hezzy went, so it didn't work. So maybe I don't get the hezzy because I'm not OG Anunoby. More NBA coming up at some point. Let's get to our poll question today, and it involves Joseph Lee Burrow, the Bengals star quarterback. Well, he has not a new contract, but the Bengals restructured his contract. And our What's the Word poll question of the day is simple. What's your reaction to the Bengals restructuring Joe Burrow's contract that cleared $10 million in cap space for the 2026 season? Excited, but what's next is what 52.4% of you said. 24.8% said, great step, all in. 13.3% say, why only $10 million in cap space when they could have freed up to $19 million? And 9.5% of you say, better late than never. Nice split there. Plenty of votes on each side of the spectrum.
Yeah, and not really surprised. I kind of figured this was how it would fall, where a lot of people are excited, but we want to see what's next. How are they going to use, this restructure? I was also in the camp, and I talked about this on the show yesterday. Why only the $10 million? Why not go a little bit higher? What does this signify and indicate? Because I would love for them to do multiple things, right, with this extra cap space, not just kind of like limit them to either, signing a veteran to add to, this roster or, making something work and getting one of these contracts done. I might be greedy here. I want multiple.
Yeah, no, that would certainly be nice. I think it's a good, point for the majority here to make is that you are excited. Obviously, it's a great step for the Bengals franchise, but you do need to know what's next. So much of the conversation around Joe Burrow's restructure was the thought process that it would be done before free agency and would help the Bengals add significant pieces to this team. Now, the front office navigated the offseason very well, added, significant pieces to the defense, bigger pieces than a lot of us ever could have expected throughout this offseason without the restructure. But now that it comes when it did, I have a hard time believing they're just freeing up $10 million to free up $10 million. So what is it for? And I think that's where everyone goes next with so many key players up for extension and the glaring hole at linebacker. Either one, I think those 52% would be pretty thrilled.
Yeah, I think the what's next is the only question at this point. If they showed their willingness to do this and restructure, one, I think that they will cross this bridge again next year, or maybe do what the Chiefs did with Mahomes, which... But you look at it, and he'll have 3 years left. If Joe Burrow goes out and wins MVP, he'll have 3 years left on his deal. He's going to want more years. I would want more years. They should want to give him more years. Would not shock me at all if this puts them in position to do that. Maybe that's why they only restructured $10 million, because this structure could go much different in the way they looked at it. So, we'll probably rework it next year anyway. This is all we need this year. I wonder if that's the case. Regardless, though, the what's next is so interesting to me because I assume it's DJ Turner.
It seems to be the general.
It just feels that way. Maybe way off. I don't think they did this to sign Bobby Wagner tomorrow. By the way, would love for them to sign Bobby Wagner tomorrow. How fun would that be? Sign a Bobby. That is your campaign slogan for the rest of the offseason.
Exactly. I'm just going to run with it.
Contipelli 2026. Sign a Bobby.
I'm in. She's got my vote.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why there's so much conversation around linebacker is because all of the other questions were answered with flying colors. I mean, got the guy that was available at multiple positions for the Bengals this offseason. So the fact that linebacker, the one who kind of led that push leading into the offseason of what everyone suggested the Bengals needed to add to, being the last one remaining is shocking to a lot of people. But, I mean, this certainly, if not tomorrow, I think that's definitely not likely, but it makes it more likely that they make an addition, even if it is just marginally, right?
Yeah, I do think so. I think another addition is coming. And what they looked at it as is we can free up this cap space, use it for extensions, but also have the breathing room to add another piece or two. The Dalton Reisner addition that came in late August was huge last year. I hope they don't wait that long, but there are guys, if they add a quality linebacker, someone that can raise the floor of that room if one of these guys at Knight and Carter don't pan out or aren't what you're hoping they are, or if maybe you need one of those guys get hurt and you need a guy to step up, well, raise the floor of that room. They can do that and still get DJ Turner done and still get some of these extensions done. And that's what they need to do. That needs to be next on their list, is making sure that Turner's signed, maybe another one of these young players, but also adding to their defense, continuing what this has been, which was an all-in offseason. Get this defense right. They need to add a linebacker still.
No, they absolutely do. I don't think you can go into the season just banking that these young linebackers are going to grow and develop in the way that you need them to. We're hoping that's the case, but from what we saw last year, I'm not fully there yet. So I would love for them to add another veteran linebacker to that group to not only help on the field in situations, but to almost be more of that leadership presence off the field too, in the meetings in the locker room. I think that could go a long way. But James, want to ask you real quick. You brought up Patrick Mahomes and them reworking or adding years to that deal. Timing of that, a little odd, don't you think? News about Joe Burrow's restructure comes out, Mahomes coming back from the injury. Did that surprise you that this happened when it did for Kansas City?
Yeah, it's funny that it happened back-to-back days like that. And I do wonder, I assume that Kansas City was working on this and they're like, hey, we got to make Mahomes the highest paid quarterback in the league and go that route. Let's get ahead of it before Joe, some of these other guys. Like Lamar, if he plays well this year, guess what? His deal, it's going to go up. Some of these guys are going to get paid.
We're going to see a 7?
If the Bengals don't act next offseason, it will be a 7 for him the next time they touch that Joe contract.
I think Joe and Lamar are pushing 70.
It's no shock. Not a shock to me at all. We'll see. We have plenty to dive into when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Up next, it's time for a World Cup preview courtesy of Marisa Contipelli right here on First Word.
And today we are at Lori's Roadhouse in Westchester, in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're about to go country line dancing. And I'm here with Erica. She is the resident country line dancing teacher. And she has done it every Tuesday since 21?
21, unless I'm at the beach.
Unless she's at the beach, okay. Now Lori's Roadhouse has been here since 2021, right?
October 2021. Well, I tell folks the rules for line dancing. You have to be able to count to 8.
Okay, cool.
It's helpful if you know your right from your left.
Okay.
You have to smile and have fun.
Hey.
And encourage your neighbor.
Oh, you're doing great, girl. Good job. All right, girl, here we go.
I want to welcome you all to Tuesday Night Line Dancing. How many new friends do we have? New friends, new friends. Loud crowd, here we go. So we want our new friends to feel really welcome. So tonight they're going to learn 3 dances in the beginning class from 7 to 8. I'm going to teach the dances step by step by step with a lot of repetition. Makes it easy to learn. Right?
1, 2, 3.
Nice. Did you nail it?
Nailed it!
That's because we haven't turned yet. It's back 3, 4. Okay, you just did a rocking chair. Now step forward on your right, left.
Dude, you know what?
Now
This
you know
is
the
easy.
drill. You're going to count that.
1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7. Oop, okay.
That didn't sound very confident. So let's do it 2 more times.
Oh, perfect.
Looking good.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, right.
Turn again.
5, 6, 7, and 8.
Good job, dancers. Hey. So in the early 90s, I danced 6 nights a week for 6, 7, 8 years. And then when all the bars closed, then I kept dancing. I danced at church. I danced at community centers, recreation centers. Right now I have like 9 or 10 classes a week, but this is by far the funnest place ever.
It's only one I can do. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Now, this year's World Cup does feature 48 teams. It's the largest the tournament has ever featured and does include Messi and the defending champions, Argentina, along with some of the powerhouse names like France, Brazil, and England. Now, the format for this year's tournament is going to look like this. The 48 teams will be divided into 12 groups of 4, with the top 2 teams and the best third-place finishers advancing to the newly introduced round of 32. Now, as for the United States, they are co-hosting the tournament for the first time since 1994, as aspirations are very high for this U.S. squad. Let's take a look, though, at how they can advance through group play. They will be in Group D. Friday, June 12th, the U.S. will kick off their tournament against Paraguay. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern from Los Angeles. They will then head up to Seattle on June 19th to take on Australia, and then we'll be back in LA on June 25th.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Happy World Cup Day and welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Make sure you catch us live every weekday on YouTube. You can listen live on Mixlr, Also streaming live on Facebook, on X, and on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. You see all the channels there. 19.3 on digital, 253 on Alta Fiber, $9.99 on Spectrum. Make sure you check out the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley every weekday at noon. And, of course, Nat Tries That, Rebound Rundown, and the Nat Jones Show, wherever you get your podcasts. Marisa Contipelli has you covered when it comes to the World Cup with a World Cup preview. Let's dive in to all things World Cup right now with Marisa.
The stage is set, the lights are shining, and the stars are ready to get after it as the 2026 FIFA World Cup is set to kick off from North America from June 11th through July 19th, as the 23rd tournament will be hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Now, this year's World Cup does feature 48 teams. It's the largest the tournament has ever featured and does include Messi and the defending champions, Argentina, along with some of the powerhouse names like France, Brazil, and England. Now, the format for this year's tournament is going to look like this. The 48 teams will be divided into 12 groups of 4, with the top 2 teams and the best third-place finishers advancing to the newly introduced round of 32. Now, as for the United States, they are co-hosting the tournament for the first time since 1994, as aspirations are very high for this U.S. squad. Let's take a look, though, at how they can advance through group play. They will be in Group D. Friday, June 12th, the U.S. will kick off their tournament against Paraguay. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern from Los Angeles. They will then head up to Seattle on June 19th to take on Australia, and then we'll be back in LA on June 25th. Now, this U.S. team is arguably the deepest talent pool and roster that they have ever had for a World Cup. The 26-man roster was revealed during a reveal party up in New York City, and they are led by forward Christian Pulisic. Pulisic, the 27-year-old, highly regarded as one of the best American players of all time. Nicknamed Captain America, Pulisic was named to his second World Cup roster. As he paces the way for the U.S., his 32 career goals is the most since he was called up a decade ago, as he is also the most experienced player on the squad with 84 career caps.
We saw you at an event yesterday. The hype, the crowd, the kids, the amount of people looking around this wonderful venue right now, how excited people are. Is it starting to feel real for you? And then do you have a message for these fans of what to expect from you, but more importantly, this team this summer?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is starting to feel real. I'm so thankful for all this incredible support. Also yesterday, I mean, it really fuels us. So we really appreciate to see you guys showing out. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm just grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to have these people behind us.
And obviously, a bit of different expectations when you were going into your first World Cup as opposed to now your second World Cup. Face of U.S. soccer, big star. How do you deal with the expectations, the pressure going into the second World Cup?
Yeah, I've been asked this question a lot, and yeah, I don't have a clear answer. All I can do is give my best. I'm so proud to represent this country, and yeah, I'm going to do my best to make you guys proud, and I'm just thankful that you guys support me.
Pulisic is one of 13 players returning from that 2022 World Cup roster that did advance to the round of 16. Now, other notable returners include 8 starters from that squad, like Tyler Adams, Matt Turner, and Weston McKennie, who all started every World Cup match for the U.S. 4 years ago. And of the 3 goalkeepers on this year's roster, just 22 years of age, Chris Brady is set to become the 3rd youngest keeper at this year's World Cup. He is also set to become the youngest U.S. goalkeeper in over 35 years. Now, FC Cincinnati defender Miles Robinson also earned a place on this year's team. Robinson became the first active FC Cincinnati player to earn a call-up to the U.S. men's national team for the World Cup. Robinson likely would have made the team 4 years ago, but unfortunately was out due to injury after rupturing his Achilles prior to the tournament. Now, as I mentioned before, the U.S. will be in Group D and are the favorites to advance out of that group. As far as the 11 other groups go, here is a look at some of the favorites to advance from group play. The list includes Mexico, Switzerland, Brazil, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, France, Argentina, Portugal, and England. This is all according to Sports Illustrated. Now, here is also a few notable early group stage matchups to keep an eye on. The June 12th debut, of course, for the United States, the June 22nd tilt between France and Norway, and the highly anticipated rematch of the 2018 semifinal between England and Croatia. Now, as for who the favorites are to hoist the tournament trophy up at the end of it, DraftKings has France and Spain each at 5-1 odds, followed by England, Brazil, and the defending champions Argentina. The United States currently sit at the 14th best odds to win it all, as they take aim at winning the country's first ever World Cup trophy. Now, as games kick off June 11th throughout North America, here is a look at the 16 stadiums that will be holding World Cup matches. As you notice, their usual stadium names, well, they won't be in play. So instead of calling it MetLife Stadium, it'll be known as New York, New Jersey Stadium. That is going to be the largest capacity of the 16, holding over 78,000 spectators. Now, the smallest stadium on this list, well, that's going to be Toronto Stadium, home to Toronto FC in MLS. That is over just a 44,000 capacity limit. Now, as for AT&T Stadium, or Dallas Stadium, as we will now be calling it for the next 5 or 6 weeks or so, they are going to be utilizing curtains to cover the windows during World Cup matches, a move that maybe Cowboy fans would like to see permanently. If you know, you know, right, NFL fans? Now, one other unique feature we will see during this World Cup is the official game ball by Adidas. That ball is going to need to be charged before every game, but don't worry, the battery life on that is expected to be about 6 hours. Now, the Trianda ball features a 14-gram built-in sensor. It tracks speed, spin, and movement 500 times per second, along with a precise location every single time the ball is touched. Now, the sensors are extremely lightweight, unnoticeable for the players. The 2022 World Cup sensor hung by wires inside of the ball, but this year, those sensors will be part of the ball panels. The data collected by the Trianda is paired with 12 cameras around the stadium that will help track the data and is transmitted live to VAR and will be used to determine goal line technology and offsides calls. Now, we will make sure to keep you updated on everything World Cup-wise, especially once the U.S. kicks off on June 12th as we follow along their tournament play, which we hope is going to be a deep tournament run. We will also make sure to keep you updated with everything else World Cup-wise, so follow us right here on The Crown.
Good stuff from Marisa there. That entire World Cup preview is on our YouTube page, so make sure you subscribe there on the First Word YouTube channel. Over 5,000 already have. Let's continue to grow there. By the way, former U.S. men's national team member and FC Cincinnati star Jeff Cameron on the show tomorrow. And I'm excited to hear from him, get everything we need to know ahead of Friday night's matchup.
Yeah, I was so excited to have Jeff on the show tomorrow. Jacob and I had the chance to do an interview with him yesterday. We had to pre-record it because Jeff has an insanely busy schedule, a lot of travel going
world
on.
traveler.
He's going all over. It's
Everywhere.
actually kind of crazy. I told him, I'm like, you get any sleep over the next couple of weeks? So it was really great. He was able to squeeze us in during all of his travels. I know he's going to be spending quite a bit of time at the ESPN studios in New York with a lot of their coverage for the World Cup, but he has a lot of great stuff he's going to be sharing with us on the show tomorrow, and we might even have a little sneak peek of that interview later on, potentially.
Potentially, but it was a great time to have Jeff on yesterday, and really looking forward to the World Cup starting tonight. You know, I'm not watching soccer all the time, but every 4 years I'm dialed in to the World Cup, and it's going to be really, really fun, especially hosting it here in the U.S.
Yeah, excited for that. For those that are wondering, yes, we will cover the World Cup. Yes, we're going to cover the Reds and the Bengals. There's plenty of time here on First Word to get to everything you need to know. We'll get you caught up with everything you missed next and While You Slept right here on The Crown.
gotta go somewhere to eat this now. Holy. Look at this. This is item number 4. This is the strawberry cookie dream bowl from Davis Cookie Collection. Whipped cream again on top, some cookie crumble, a strawberry cookie, and then that's gotta be ice cream. And they made this to order with some strawberry syrup on top. Ooh-wee. It's like, you know, when you get a dip top, I always get the strawberry dip top. Oh, this is delicious. Oh yeah. Ooh. All right, the more it rests in your mouth, the better. I can feel my hips expanding. Worth it. Thank you so much. Woo-wee. Look at these. All right, here we go. The Wicked Hickory brisket sandwich. Oh, this looks good. Oh yeah. Eating brisket after ice cream is tough. Hello, I don't know if I have.
They did. Yeah, you can cover that up. So they did a change on it. The snack and bites are the meatball.
Gotcha. You know what? You're not even on. You're not on my list.
Oh, you missed out, dude.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Next year. Huh?
You seem great. I want to eat this man's food. Damn. Heck yeah. Be careful. Thank you so much.
Enjoy, honey.
All right, this is a bruschetta grilled cheese topped with a balsamic glaze. Let's go. Oh, let's get in there. Woo! Ooh. You know, sometimes your mouth waters so much it hurts. That's what's happening right now. Look how beautiful that is. Look like a crab. Isn't that cute? All right, to be honest, if I could, I would just give everybody a 10 out of a 10. You know, everyone gets a 5 Yelp score for me.
Jeremy Fowler is our guest of ESPN. Jeremy, in NFL circles, are the Bengals viewed as a contender again? They've missed the playoffs 3 straight years. They make this big swing for Dexter Lawrence. Obviously, you mentioned Joe Burrow and the skill guys that they have. Are they viewed that way?
They are viewed as, in a wide open AFC North, a contender. If you can get out of that division and you can just get in the dance, they're viewed as a team still like they were 3 or 4 years ago where anything's possible, right? Like you've seen the games they played against Kansas City when KC was in their prime. And it's one of those things where even when they lost, it felt like they probably should have won or they dropped the ball or a play away from winning. That element there still exists. You know, it's tough though because winning is infectious. And losing is infectious too a little bit. So you can't just assume that year to year you're going to be able to bounce back. But this league is built on parity. If you've had some down years, as long as you are building the roster the right way and have enough personnel, it can flip from 7 wins to 11 wins pretty quickly. I mean, you see that league wide.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And boy, oh boy, they tricked me. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 4. The Reds, they keep doing it some more. They fool me and fool me and fool me again. I thought they were going to win. I said, Brady Singer singing. They're hitting home runs. Eugenio Suarez showed up, and it was going to get done. And then that bullpen. You can't trust him. You can't win with him. You can't play with him. You can't do it.
I really thought after seeing Brady go 6 innings, I'm like, oh, we're good. This is what we needed.
He was singing a song.
He was singing.
He was good. Brady Singer.
He was good. And I didn't think there was any way good was going to be the word. Maybe good enough could have been played today, but good is certainly a shocker and such a huge win for this Reds team moving forward if Singer's going to be the guy.
Yeah. And it's tough, and let's dive into it here while you slept. The Reds lose. They blow it again, and if you get that outing from Brady Singer, if you have the lead late, you have to take advantage of it, and it would have felt much different had they gotten this one. They win 4th. Let's say they would have had to go to extras. The bullpen blows if they go to extras and win 5-4. it still feels a bit different. But you go up 4-2, you get what you get out of Singer. You got it. That has to be it. And your guy Tony Santillan doesn't deliver, fails, and then Chase Petty, who they flew there for this game, gives up the walk-off home run.
Well, that shows you how tough of a place this bullpen's in. If you're going to throw one of your top starting pitching prospects, fly him across the country, and have him essentially try to close a baseball game, I mean, this bullpen is in a really tough spot right now. But one exciting thing over the weekend, Zach Maxwell, back-to-back starts without a walk. First time he's done that at any level so far this year. So maybe they found a piece in Big Sugar.
And a little surprising, too, that Caleb Ferguson struggled the way he did, because he had been pitching pretty well for, the month of June and even this couple outings there in May, too. So it's one of those things where you were going to be relying on just a few guys in that bullpen, and just a tough day where guys aren't able to come in and kind of get the job done. And it's just overall disappointing. Like, I really thought they had that win last night.
And the mind-boggling thing with Ferguson, both doubles he gave up yesterday to left-handed hitters. Yeah. He was brought in here to be the lefty you can trust in the bullpen. To give up 2 doubles to back-to-back left-handed hitters last night was really shocking to me. He's struggled against lefties all year so far this year, which was not the expectation when they spent the money on him in this offseason.
No doubt. He needs to figure it out. This bullpen in shambles. Here's Terry Francona after the loss.
Yeah. He knew he was coming in that inning. And I told him before the game I would not bring him in a middle of an inning. So when we got Tony up for the 8th, we got him up so he could warm up kind of regular. I actually didn't think he made a real bad pitch. When the ball hit, I was kind of looking at my lineup card like, okay, we're going to have an open base. What do we want to do? I didn't think that ball was going to get out. Well, I'm actually think they're handling themselves really well. They compete every day. The results are not what we want. There's no getting around that. I'm not going to sit here and say a month ago I love these guys and now we've lost some games and I hate them, because that's not how I feel. We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle together. We're going to figure it out together. And, got a guy like Tony Santillan who's pitched 3 out of 4, and he's in here wanting to fight me so he can pitch today. That shows me you guys care.
That's Terry Francona. Obviously, the Reds are just struggle. It's struggle bus, struggle city. J.J. Bleday had a nice day with the home run. Brady Singer, heck of an outing. You take that all day long. Hopefully, that's the sign of things to come. And yet, 9 left on base, 4 runs, and a bullpen that blew it again. And look, you can win together, lose together, sing Kumbaya together. It doesn't matter. What really matters is they're 32-35. They're 9.5 back in the Central. They're 3 back in the wild card spot, which is getting farther and farther away, it feels like. The Diamondbacks, Phillies, and Cardinals there atop the wild card standing. So, there's not a lot to be optimistic about. An off day, much needed for the Reds today. But my goodness, this bullpen, I don't know where they go, but they need to find a fix fast, and I'm not sure it's there. I guess the one thing hope-wise, Brady Singer coming on, having a nice outing when you had to have it. If you would have told me that he goes 6 and gives up 2, I would have said, well, the Reds win.
Mm-hmm.
And it really stinks that we're talking about 32-35 and not a series victory, 33-34 on the year.
Yeah, it's June 11th. We'd like to be talking about the National League Central, but it's hard for me to not look at the wild card every now and then. And obviously, we're not standings watching in June, but as of right now,
we are.
The Padres, I just mean in terms of the National League wild card and seeing what teams to get, because that can all change so drastically. But as of right now, and the expectation before the season, the Padres are holding one of those spots. Don't get a lot of chances to play the San Diego Padres. This would have been a massive series for the Reds to win around this wild card conversation later in the season. So I have a worry that we're going to be looking back at these 2 games. Abbott's start, a game that the Reds should have had a better chance to win than they did. And then obviously the unfortunate events of yesterday afternoon, Fernando Tatis' 2nd home run of the year, a walk-off series winner. We might be looking back at this series in beginning of June when the Reds are outside looking in at the wild card in September.
Gosh, I sure hope not. They need to figure out something in this bullpen, whether it's pulling up a different arm down in Louisville. I don't know who that would be at this point, but
Julian Aguilar is probably your best bet.
They need some kind of change or catalyst, or maybe that's making a move. This is the 11th bullpen loss since May 1st. It's just unacceptable in that regard. They need some kind of help in that bullpen. hopefully some of these guys coming back from injury come a little bit sooner too. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to say at this point about the bullpen.
Per Fangraphs, a meltdown is when a reliever's win probability added is minus 0.06 or worse. So you're affecting your team's chance to win by 6% or more negatively. The Reds bullpen has 35 meltdowns since May 1st. That is by far the most in baseball. The Tigers won 6 games in the month of May. They are second on that list with 27. So almost 10 less than the Reds for the worst team in baseball last month.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. And Give Me the Keys is at 8:45. Jacob Tissett's going to take the keys. I wonder what he's going to do. I know it's Reds-based. It isn't NBA-based, but you know what is NBA-based is the NBA Finals Game 4, and it was a wild one. Hopefully you stayed up and you watched it. If you didn't and you were like me and you woke up with a minute left or under a minute left, my goodness, did you catch a wild, wild finish. The Knicks rally. The best rally, biggest rally, craziest rally in NBA history. 29 points down. They were down 20 with 9 minutes to go. And boy, oh boy, they come back. They stun the Spurs to take a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. I got to be honest, I'm floored that, one, things changed after that Taylor dance you just saw. Brunson hit that
super
three.
Fan, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she was never cheering on the couch. She showed up for the game to support Travis. But regardless, wild that the Knicks, best comeback in NBA Finals history, one of the best comebacks, if not the best comeback in NBA playoff history.
Yeah, certainly not taking anything away from the Knicks. A great comeback, but an unbelievable choke by San Antonio. First team in NBA history to have 76 or more points in the first half, 30 or fewer in the second half. Not just the playoffs, not just the finals. Any game in NBA history, regular or postseason.
How good is he?
The
OG
long lead
so
change of the game.
Yep,
And for the Spurs, it's now their 5th blown double-digit lead of the postseason, tied for most in a single playoff run in the play-by-play era, tying the Spurs, who did it 5 times as well in 2003. And especially just the fact that they weren't able to close out at the end of the game. I mean, Wemby couldn't hit a shot there in the final minutes, too. Just very uncharacteristic, and I'm sure, they're going to be looking back at why didn't Fox just hold on to the ball there? Why did you try to, go up for the layup?
A lot of De'Aaron Fox questions after last night. Most dangerous player on the inbound, always the inbounder, and he's just watching that shot go up instead of getting a body on OG Anunoby. Obviously, OG flies in, gets the tip to win. It was a mind-blowing lead. 9.5 minutes left in the third, up nearly 30 points, and then you lose by 1. Wemby missed 2 free throws with 1:47 left in the game. That has gone untalked about for the most part, basically because of that Fox shot at the end, an inexplicable shot, up a point with just seconds left on the clock. Didn't have to shoot. And he took the shot and then immediately fouled around half court. De'Aaron Fox last night had 44 touches in the second half, the most by any Spur by a pretty wide margin. Only 5 of those touches for Fox touched the paint. He is not a jump shooter at all, and never really has been in his career. He shot 2 of 6 with 2 turnovers when defended by OG Anunoby. That was the only matchup the Spurs took more than 6 shots against an individual defender. So I don't know why they chose to run this whole second half through De'Aaron Fox, but it certainly came back to bite.
Well, let's be honest. The Spurs let their foot off the gas. They started hoisting threes. They were like, oh, we're going to coast. We're going to win. And the 29 in the third quarter is one thing. They were up 20 with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Like, the Knicks hit them with a few different counter punches in the third quarter, and the Spurs responded and said, hey, we're still going to be up 20. The thing that I have to apologize for, OG Anunoby. I was familiar with your game, but I apologize because I thought Game 3 was going to be the OG game and that the Knicks wasted it. And then you go out there, you hit 7 score 33 points, and have the biggest play, potentially, assuming you guys can get this done in Knicks history. What a crazy play, skying for that, getting it, making it. And it felt like, you don't remember this, you may remember this. It was against your Pacers, though. The Larry Johnson. I was at a Dave & Buster's in 1999. Didn't really understand. I was 8. Didn't understand the moment. But Larry Johnson hits the 3 in the Garden, gets fouled, and makes the free throw for the Knicks to beat the Pacers. This is bigger than that because it's the NBA Finals. I remember that moment. Where were you when OG skied for the game winner and the craziest comeback ever in NBA Finals history? That's definitely going to be something that we talk about.
We should stop talking about OG games. OG games are done.
He's just
It's
that guy.
the OG series. At this point in the finals, he's averaging 23.8 points per game, 4 rebounds, almost 4 threes per game.
That's the big one, man.
It's the most efficient 20-point-per-game finals ever.
Wow.
He's averaging 58, 56, 92 from the field, 78% true shooting. OG Anunoby has been incredible throughout this playoffs. And this
MVP?
I can't wrap my head around why Brunson still is.
I think Brunson will still be MVP. He was 12 of 25 yesterday. It was big for them. He was the only
Merry
guy.
Christmas.
Only guy that showed up in the first half, I feel like.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Honestly, like in the second quarter, they were down, and in the second quarter, he was trying, and they could not. I was just like, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be 2-2. And this is, with any epic collapse or comeback, however you want to view it, it's 50%, wow, what a comeback, and 50%, man, I can't believe they did that.
For sure.
They got tight, and this young team got tight. There's no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And they kind of let the Cavs off the hook for the worst loss of this playoffs by, kind of one-upping them last night. But
I forgot about that.
Exactly.
I was about to say cover your ears. I think this ends the series just as much as the Cavs blown lead in Game 1 does.
Yeah, I feel like the Spurs are going to have a tough time coming back from this one. But also,
All
real
it takes
quick,
is one.
That's
Actually,
true. It's going to take three, but
All it takes is one to get going, though. Think about it. You win one in San Antonio, it's all the pressure on the Knicks to get it done at MSG.
Just like last night.
No doubt. The coaching element here. Mike Brown's doing laps.
The discrepancy is shocking.
Like Greg Popovich just needs to come down and coach Game 5.
Yeah. Mitch Johnson.
There's no way Mitch Johnson. Like, that's on him for the blown lead as much as anybody.
So much conversation throughout these playoffs, really leading up to the Western Conference Finals, was that the Spurs haven't done it before with this core. And you can't win a championship in your first go in the NBA. I think after the Spurs beat the Thunder, that kind of left the conversation a little bit. But I think we kind of overlooked Mitch Johnson's first big run in the playoffs as well. Wemby's proven he can do it. Harper looks great in moments. Fox before last night has been an engine. But Mitch Johnson, multiple times in this playoff run, has made some head-scratching decisions.
yeah, he really has. And I also just have to say, poor Falcons fans. I don't know what they, really did to deserve the, backlash on social that they are now having to relive by their blown lead to the Patriots back in that Super Bowl. Poor Atlanta.
Every single professional sports blown lead just circles back to that Super Bowl.
One of my favorite days ever.
I'm sure.
I'm a big Brady. Real quick, story time. Big Brady fan. Like, it's probably as big as there is in Cincinnati that didn't grow up in New England or have any Boston ties.
You say we got one.
Huge. Yeah, I might be bigger than him.
Okay.
Willing to say that. Doesn't mean I know him or anything, but bigger Brady fan. I'm getting trash talked at this Super Bowl party from a Jets fan. One of my good friends, and he's like, "Man, it's okay. He's had a good run," and I'm like, I cannot believe this is happening. And then he throws the pick six, and then it's 28-3. And then the next 20 minutes of game time was the most heavenly experience ever. So
just throw it to Julio.
Felt really good. You don't got to tell me who to throw it to.
I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, I get it, but that is what it is. Bob Huggins would have finished the game yesterday for the Spurs for sure, because he's one of the best college coaches of all time. There was a time, neither of you would probably remember this, where Bob Huggins was being courted by the Clippers to be their coach when he was at the University of Cincinnati.
Wow.
He stayed at UC, and he's a University of Cincinnati legend, going into the Athletics Hall of Fame. Well-deserved for Huggy Bear.
Yeah, great. Certainly one of the most iconic coaches in college basketball history and in UC history as well. So a rightful honor, no question about it. And glad he's getting the recognition he deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. Hall of Fame induction looks like it'll be happening October 23rd. So great to see this moment for Huggins and all of UC basketball.
Yeah, it is huge there for the Bearcats. Hopefully it's going to be a big season for the Bearcats. If you missed John Fant on yesterday's show, he was really good stuff on the NBA Finals. Also had some awesome stuff to say about UC and Xavier. So check that out on our YouTube channel at First Word Cincy. Up next, I see Reds, I see Bengals. Plenty to get to on a Thursday edition of First Word.
My name is James Rapien, and I host First Word every weekday morning, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Prior to joining The Crown Network, I covered the Bengals for Sports Illustrated for 6 seasons. I also am the founder of Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube and wrote the book, Enter the Jungle, A History of the Cincinnati Bengals. Couldn't be more excited to join you every weekday morning for First Word, right here on The Crown.
I mean, I've enjoyed being here, especially these days. Like, the food scene's incredible, the art's incredible. I mean, again, there's opportunities for everything. We were just talking. I just booked a big nationwide commercial, and I shot it on a weekend up near Mason. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome to me.
Well, and we've got, in terms of your filmmaking work,
Ooh.
I first came to know your work through a little short film, there it is.
Oh, yes.
Called Chilluminati.
Yes.
Which was a submission into the very first Independent Film Festival in 2018.
Yeah.
That's how I met you. Tell people about Chilluminati.
So when I first moved to Cincinnati, I thought it was very weird that there was what I've lovingly referred to as a chili-based economy here. And I was just like, it's fascinating to me that there are these two chain restaurants that compete solely with each other as far as, obviously there's the mom and pop places too. I don't want to belittle them. But I was like, you're telling me there's one blue chili brand and one red chili brand? And I was like, this is BS. There's just got to be one Greek guy at the top of this that invented the recipe. It was like, all right, the family split off. And so for years, I would joke with my friends, that were natives here. I'm like, oh, the chili mafia. You know what I mean? All this, it was like, be careful. And don't get me wrong, I adopted Cincinnati chili.
Sure.
Like, it's one of my own.
It's big business in this town. You're right.
It is.
A
I need to be a
chili-based
part
economy.
of it.
That's really good.
But I do love it. And then it all came to fruition when this came out of one of the 48-hour film projects.
Okay.
Because that was just one of those ones where I think me and my team at the time were all just, a couple of us worked together, and we were all just a little depressed, and we're like, we need to make a passion project. So I kind of signed us up unknowingly for 48.
Which, for those of you that don't know, the 48-hour film project is exactly what it sounds. It's a group of people can sign up. You pay to join, and then you have 2 days to write and shoot and edit and put all together. And there's certain little themes you have to pepper in.
Exactly.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That. On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on The Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
First Word rolls on a Thursday. Welcome in to Cincinnati's only morning sports show. I'm James Rapien. Alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot, we are your morning sports show, Cincinnati. And it is time to talk a little Cincinnati Bengals. One of the guys that has gotten a ton of praise from Joe Burrow is Bryan Cook. He's one of the top free agent addition, certainly for the Bengals this offseason, considered the best free agent safety among many. And he came home to Cincinnati to, well, make a major impact. Geno Stone just missed another tackle. We're going to dive into expectations for Bryan Cook coming up in just a second. But first, here's a snippet of what Bryan Cook had to say in the locker room earlier this week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course. We a few weeks in, few months in being on the guys. So just the chemistry is building. Definitely happy about that. As far as the camaraderie, I mean, just the sky's the limit for us. For the playbook for me, I'm definitely grasping that as well. So, yeah, for sure. I'm definitely getting comfortable for sure.
What are the biggest objectives in OTA practice for you and for the secondary group in general?
Really just building chemistry, becoming more knowledgeable about the playbook, understanding nuances, being able to compete now against the offense. So we have to see things live and make real life corrections as well. So that's the kind of the basis, and then building a foundation, moving into camp and moving to the season. But we all know, good teams start now, not when the season starts. So building those things now is definitely vital for our season.
What do you think is the identity of the secondary this early on?
The identity? That's kind of too early to say. Definitely stingy though, as far as defensive wise. Offensive wise, I mean, like, y'all know what they can do. So we more just trying to make sure to get them the ball back as much as possible. But defensive wise, for sure, being stingy across the board. Whether it be the run game, pass game, no matter what it is, and then giving our offense the opportunity to go there and score more points.
Can you see or tell anything from Joe Burrow right now? Observation.
Just a real down-to-earth guy. Outside of football, down-to-earth guy. He's very humble for who he is. Definitely a good leader, a great leader, even a better person. So shout out to him. And just all around, just a solid dude, man.
On the field?
On the field, yeah, he's a competitor. You know what I'm saying? Competitor. Obviously different. We had competitions years in. Obviously he's been in the league and played for a different team. But now seeing it day in and day out, definitely a competitor. And I'm happy to be part of this team, be part of this organization to compete against him, especially with this duration. We have human practices and then we have training camp as well. So, yeah, man, trying to soak up as much energy, information as well. From him and kind of just understand, pick his brain about a few things, and then just pick up on how he feeling certain days. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we all leaders, and he's definitely one of our biggest leaders. But at the same time, we got to make sure that he's not perfect. He's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? He's a human being. So if he come in, having a lower day, we got to be able to pick him up. You know what I'm saying? That makes a great team. You know what I'm saying? You can't just put everything on the leader's shoulder. It's not going to end up well.
He's one of the guys that's been vocal about you and your leadership. Would wearing a C, is that a goal of yours?
I want to win games, bro. Yeah, whether that's that they view me or not. I mean, I'm here to do one thing and one thing only. I'm here to win games. I definitely be appreciative for sure, and I'll wear it with a badge of honor, but that's not my main focus, no.
How tough is it to come in and take over a leadership role with a bunch of new faces where you're not integrated yet?
The hardest part is really just learning the guys. Being a leader, it's either you got it or you don't. I don't mean that in any arrogant way, but more just like I have my dark nights, I have my situations myself, as far as, having those pick myself up conversations or being real myself too and humbling my own self as well. So being a leader is more about how you walk and how you talk. But learning the guys, that ultimately determines a great leader, because now how can I say certain words to certain guys to get them to react a certain way? And every person is different. So I might say one thing, for instance, the Jordan battle, that I might say different to Dejan, I might say different to Dax, I might say different to DJ Turner, you know what I'm saying? So learning the guys and learning what triggers them and make them, go, ultimately becomes a great leader. I think that's why Joe Burrow is so great at what he does.
Good stuff there from Bengals safety. Brian Cook, that entire thing is on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. He talked for like 8 minutes, talking a ton about leadership, obviously, coming to Cincinnati, all of those things. I just want stability on the back end. Like, the bar is so low, Brian. Like, you've already exceeded it because you haven't missed a tackle during OTAs. But, like, in all seriousness, though, I do think that you can hear the leadership, the presence, all of those things. It shined through just in that 3-minute clip.
It really did. And you say the bar is so low, but I think that's why I have such high expectations for Brian Cook, because there has not been that stability in the last couple of years in the Bengals safety room. And so I'm expecting him to come in and be that leader, be that, stable force that's been missing. Yeah. And I love hearing him talk about the leadership aspect and, the camaraderie with the guys, getting to know everyone. That is going to go such a a long way. And on top of it, that he's from so many ties to Cincinnati. Just absolutely love it. I think he was a perfect addition for the Bengals to go out and bring into this defense. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with a captain's Sienna's patch.
It would certainly be great, and we've spent so much time talking about the leadership aspect of Cook, and that's obviously a huge addition to this Bengals defense. But he's also just a really good safety, and I think that's a great thing to add as well. Bengals fans here in Cincinnati, especially in the Joe Burrow era, know how big having a great safety can be. Jesse Bates was the engine of that defense when they made it to the Super Bowl, made it to an AFC Championship game, and they've been trying to replace him since he left. And it's been a lot of swings and misses in trying to fill that role, and finally went out and got the top guy possible on the market. And Brian Cook couldn't be more different of a player than Geno Stone, and he's going to make a big difference this year.
Missed tackle percentage last year by Brian Cook, 4.5. Do you know Geno Stone's number?
12.
What's your guess?
Like 9.5?
Higher.
15.
Higher.
16.
Higher.
18.
Higher.
20.
20.
Wow.
Get him out of here. Oh
Wow.
my God. 20.
20.
I thought even your 12 was hatery.
No, I thought I nailed it. I thought it was 12. And 12 is a lot.
He was higher than 12 in 2024 too.
Enjoy Buffalo.
Rough.
Geno, yeah. Come on. You're setting me up to be mean to Geno. I want to be nice to Brian Cook.
Mean to Geno?
I'm not mean. I'm honest.
That's fair.
Stop missing tackles, Geno. It's practice right now. He's missing tackles. I have high expectations for Brian Cook as well. And as much as I've talked about the defensive line being a strength, and we all have, right? It's no secret. With Brian Cook, my expectation for him is that this secondary is a strength. That we're saying, man, that defensive front plus that secondary, really, really good defense, regardless of the two backers that are question marks right now. Because do we doubt that DJ Turner's awesome? No. Do we think Dax Hill's awesome? I certainly do. I think a lot of people do in the building as well. And so if you have Dax, DJ, Brian Cook in the back end, that should be enough for the secondary to be a strength, because I think Jordan is solid. I think whatever they end up doing at nickel corner, it will be solid. Maybe Takario Davis forces his way onto the field and moves Dax inside. Maybe not. Maybe it is Jalen Davis. Maybe it's Jasir Taylor, who had a nice week, a couple batted passes this week in practice. Regardless, I think they'll be solid in that spot. This secondary should be a strength. It shouldn't just be the defensive front and the pass rush. This secondary should be really darn good. And Brian Cook is the reason why. I think this might be takey. I think he's the best player in that secondary.
Wow.
Ooh.
If he is, then the secondary certainly is a strength.
Yeah.
It would be him or DJ.
For sure.
And I think that there's some untapped there with Brian Cook that he's starting to, from a leadership standpoint, certainly starting to show. But guess what? If he's a leader from March when he signs to September, he's going to go out there in September, and I would expect him to play the best ball of his career.
Would change a lot for this Bengals defense. And I think with all the additions to the defensive line, that's obviously stolen a lot of the conversation with the strength flip for the defense. But the secondary, the corners were the strongest position group going into this offseason on the defense. Nobody would argue that. And Jordan Battle was an exciting player in college and when the Bengals drafted him, and hasn't been surrounded by a lot of help on the secondary. We talk a lot about Geno Stone. Obviously, the corners took a big step last year, but that's not the corner duo that he's been playing with the majority of his career. And he struggled at times, but he's also been a big play maker, and I think having a more consistent option next to him in that safety room and the corners continuing to take another step, Battle's a player I'm really, really excited for this season.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how him and Brian Cook complement one another too, and really hoping that Cook can come in and help Jordan Battle in different areas in different ways, kind of like you were just mentioning. But what a world, guys, if we're talking about this secondary being as big of a strength as what we're expecting this defensive line to be. If the Bengals have strengths in both of those positions, top 10 defense? I mean, think about it that way.
Yes.
This would have to be one of the best defenses in the league then.
Let's just put it like this. If Brian Cook is the best player in the secondary, he's probably a Pro Bowler this year. DJ Turner, you expect him to be Pro Bowler. Dax Hill, expect to be really good. Dexter Lawrence, Pro Bowler. So that's at least 3 Pro Bowlers on defense.
When's the last time they had 3 Pro Bowlers on
What a
defense?
world. 2015?
Geno Dunlap Pac-Man?
I think Pac-Man
He was a return
returner.
specialist, but
yeah, but he
corner.
mattered. Yeah, he mattered. Yeah, because Reeder was never a Pro Bowler.
No.
Bates wasn't a Pro Bowler, and so that's
the one that I still just. Come on, man.
That got in the way of contract stuff too. Yeah, the Pro Bowl. No Pro Bowls.
Yeah, no Pro Bowls, just the best safety in football.
He's so good.
So good.
Guess what? Maybe Brian's going to be that good.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
That would be awesome.
Regardless, stability. The Bengals need stability on the back end. We certainly think Brian Cook is going to bring it. We will continue the conversation when it comes to the Bengals safeties. Next hour, we'll hear from Jordan Battle as First Word rolls on a Thursday right here on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
When people think of St. Vincent de Paul, Cincinnati, they're thinking of the thrift stores. Our market research showed that pretty heavily. And they actually had a huge gap in mission clarity, understanding what we really do. You know, most people had no idea that we do homelessness prevention support, that we are a leader in providing emergency assistance when someone's about to be evicted or foreclosed on. Most people had no idea. You know, last year we gave out $17 million worth of medication. We gave out $7 million worth of food and nearly $4 million in housing and utilities assistance. When people are shopping in the thrift store, they often go, I don't know, they're probably providing jobs to people. I don't know. You know, there's definitely, or they probably do a food drive somewhere around here. Like there's these assumptions about St. Vincent de Paul, and then there's the actual impact that they have no idea they're making possible. So the last couple of years, we've brought everybody on a journey of when you donate to the thrift store, what does that become? You know, you might be donating a box of clothes, but we are turning that into a box of food for a family. Or you might be donating, you know, a lamp, and we're able to make that into a medication with the sale of that. And so it's exciting to educate the community. The thrift stores are strong. We added the Hamilton one up in Butler County. That was our first Butler County one. That was so exciting. That was last year. It's going very well. Milford, we bought the old Big Lots out there. And so now we have 2 buildings, and then we have the pharmacy. So there's 3 buildings out there for now. We'll see how as we keep growing. It's just, there's so much exciting growth. There's so much trust from the community. And it feels like a huge duty of ours to protect and steward that trust and keep increasing our impact, honestly, and partnering well.
Get there, but there's just everybody has a question mark right now.
No question about it. You're absolutely right. But I think where I'm at right now is we see players in the NFL every single year surprise and disappoint in terms of the production over their careers. And for the Bengals right now, every defense in the NFL is just on paper. Whether it's a coaching change or roster changes or whatever it is, some more than others, I understand that. The Bengals probably leading that group in terms of the overall changes they made to their defense this year. But in terms of on paper, this defensive line is really, really good to me. And I think when you're comparing it to everyone else in the league, the depth is what sets them apart. Maybe you don't have that killer, but having Dexter Lawrence in the middle and Jonathan Allen, you know, not as the marquee guy on the defensive line, but as a second fiddle kind of to Dexter Lawrence, I think just really frees him up to hopefully tap back into some fountain of youth stuff there. And then you said 2 out of the 3 in the edge room need to hit in order to have success, and you're absolutely right. But I just think the Bengals having more bites at the apple here this year to get those 2 that hit, give them a better chance of that coming to fruition.
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
The Reds bullpen blew it again. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, and far too often, over the past 9 mornings, we've had to talk about this bullpen blowing it. And, well, this Reds bullpen is in shambles right now, which means it's time for a special Give Me the Keys segment that could solve their biggest issue right now, which is the bullpen.
Solve, I hope, but at least make it a little bit more watchable. I'm going to take the keys and try to give the Reds a chance here throughout the next couple months. The Reds have to go make an addition. The Reds have to go add to this bullpen. And the problem right here is that's a tough sell to the front office when you've lost 4 series in a row. You're 3-7 in your last 10 and have been floundering for about a month and a half. But this team has no chance at getting to a point where they can convince themselves to be sellers at a trade deadline a month from now if they don't make an addition now. I'm not talking about some kind of big swing where you're trading a meaningful player or taking talent away from the major league roster, but going to attack a short-term answer for this bullpen with a prospect or something along those lines gives this Reds team a chance. They flew Chase Petty across the country to San Diego last night to get 2 outs in a game because they didn't have enough arms to get through the game if they didn't. Chase Petty's one of the Reds' top prospects, a potential starting pitcher in this rotation for a long time in a couple of years, and they're having to use him in these types of situations. Going to Tony Santillan night in and night out in high-leverage situations when he continues to prove he doesn't have his top stuff. Ashcraft has a UCL scare. He's not coming back anytime soon. Pagan, we saw what happened when he got hurt. Who knows what's going to happen when he returns, and will he be at form or not? This bullpen doesn't have a lot of help coming anytime soon. And if the Reds want to stay anywhere close to contention, they're going to have to add to it, and they got to add to it today.
I have never agreed with you faster on a keys or a take segment because, yeah, I'm right there with you. They have to make some kind of change. They need to do something. All I ask is go out and get a reliever who is not going to give up home runs or walks, because you look at the Reds' numbers from the 7th inning or later, 32 home runs allowed by the bullpen, most in the majors. The 109 walks, second most in the majors. Someone needs to come in there and just do the little things, do the basics, the fundamentals. Don't give up walks, don't give up home runs.
It's simple, and yet it feels so, oh my goodness, are they going to be able to do it?
Right.
And they invested. The crazy part is they invested in this bullpen.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
They did try. This isn't one of those where, we're going to bank on this young guy developing or someone bouncing back. They invested in the bullpen, and it hasn't worked. And it needs to be fixed, and they need some stability there. And so I don't know anyone that could argue that the Reds need to make a move here. If they plan on winning this year, they need to find a way to help the bullpen, almost Joe Flacco-like. The world felt like it was ending when Joe Burrow got hurt. And then 3 weeks later, they traded for Joe Flacco. You need that, something that's going to give you that hope, optimism, and then also be able to execute and do the basic things like Marisa mentioned, which throw strikes, get outs. And I get it. Everyone wants more bullpen help. Everyone wants another proven reliever. Fine. It's your job to find it. Yeah. I'm not saying it's easy. Give Me the Keys doesn't say, it's easy to find the next guy. But it's Nick Kral's job to do it. And in this Reds organization at 32 and 35, everything that's happened over the past 6 weeks, if they plan on winning this season, they need to find another arm. They do not have the talent to do it. They don't have enough talent to win. They don't have enough talent in the lineup or in the rotation to overcome a bad bullpen. And when those two areas work, the bullpen has let them down more often than not. That can't continue to be the case. So they have to do something, because hope is not going to fix it.
No.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's so frustrating is I'm not even necessarily asking for a consistent or dominant MLB arm.
You didn't say Chapman. You didn't say trade for Aroldis Chapman.
Right.
You need someone that's going to come in there and be okay.
James and I sat at this desk last week and bought or sold whether or not we believed the Reds would be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. That question will not even be able to be asked unless they add to the bullpen within the next couple days or weeks, or something has to change, because this will continue to spiral with the bullpen they keep running out there.
Yeah, it will, and the team will spiral, and then Terry's going to say, hey, I'm rolling with these guys, I'm sticking with these guys, which I get, but guess what? You got to give them more time. You got to give the answer isn't on the roster, and I'm not sure it's in the organization right now. Find it. I don't care where, but you have to find it.
And you have to find a way to stay afloat.
That's it. And then Pagan comes back and he pitches well, and all those things can happen. But you got to get there first. And maybe it's as simple as Hunter Green comes back and you feel good about your rotation.
Yeah.
Move some of these guys to the bullpen. Fine. But none of that matters. Hunter Green coming back will not matter if the bullpen stinks over the next 30 days. It won't.
Right.
They're hanging by a thread now. as it is in this wild. They're 3 games back in the wild card, 32 and 35 overall. They've lost 4 straight series. They've won a whopping, my goodness, 12 games since May 1.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating brand of baseball to
June
watch.
11th.
Exactly. And I think the thing that I'm really looking at this point with the Reds is, are you really going to waste a midsummer infusion of Hunter Green and Ellie De La Cruz? If the season's over by the time those guys get back, what a frustrating place to be in.
Marisa's frustrated. She's giving you the head nod. Jacob Tissot is trying to make a trade. You know me, I love moves. Let's make a trade. Up next, it's time to get into something the Bengals really messed up. They've gotten a lot right this offseason, but they messed up one big thing. We'll talk about it next. Jeff Passan predicts that the Reds will be sellers at the trade deadline. And here's what he wrote. Objective, stop living at 500 and play like a playoff team. If they were to unload someone, it would be Brock Burke, who pitched well earlier this week. And if they were to get someone, it could be Taylor Ward, the outfielder, to give them some outfield help, which I think everybody would agree with. You buying this? You buying that the Reds could be sellers, will be sellers at the deadline?
I certainly think it's an option, and they're headed that direction, but this has to be the 4th, maybe 5th year in a row that the Reds' ideal trade deadline target's listed as Taylor Ward. So nice to see that keep coming around. First it was when he was with the Angels, now on an expiring deal with the Orioles. He's a free agent this offseason, so expect more conversation when he hits the market this offseason. But the first thing I thought of with this was, if the Reds are going to unload someone at the deadline and it's a relief pitcher, what does the second half of this season look like for Reds fans in the bullpen?
Were you? No, hell no. Why were you there? To have a drink. How old were you? I was in my 20s. Yeah. You've told me this story before, and it started, you said that you were working and then you went to the pavilion because that was the cool spot at the time, which, by the way, it was cool when I was a kid too. RIP to the pavilion in Cincinnati, Ohio. And that you were waiting for my dad, on the back patio. Yeah, I was. I'm watching these 3 red balls in the sky. I was sitting with people, and I wouldn't tell anyone. Really? No, I would not, because I thought, they'll think I'm nuts. Yeah. But I'm watching these things, and then they zoomed off. Well, so fast. Have you ever seen anything like that since? No. All right, so that explains a lot, because all growing up, you were obsessed with the movie Alien. I saw the movie Alien when I was 5. And I was there. Yeah, you were there. I also saw the movie. I was. I know. I also saw the movie It when I was 5 and had nightmares and peed the bed for a decade after that. I peed the bed for so long and had nightmares from watching the movie It when I was a kid. And he watched X-Files a lot, just all Stephen King stuff, supernatural and alien stuff. I'm very into Stephen King. You did read all the books too. I did. I did. And I missed that tremendously, being able to read a book. Yeah. Oh. Well, so this is my mom. Hello. Hi, my name is hi, my name is Natalie Jones. And this is my mother, Mary Beth. And actually, what is your last name?
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
The agenda is set. Welcome into First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And you can watch live on RESN. You can watch live on YouTube, listen live on Mixlr, and we are streaming right now on Facebook and X at First Word Cincy. Also, check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and check out the entire Crown Network wherever you get your podcasts. Also, live every weekday, The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley gets you caught up on all things you need to know business-wise every single weekday, noon to 1, right here on The Crown. And one thing that I love, and I got to preface it this way because I truly do. I love that the Bengals have a Ring of Honor. I love that they crown their legends because a decade ago, this was not the case. And so 2021, when they launched the Ring of Honor, I loved every bit of it. I love that they were going in on their past, on their history, celebrating their history, reminding everyone of all the great players that have rolled through Cincinnati and played for the Bengals and put on those stripes since 1968. I also absolutely hate what they announced earlier. It was last month now. It's June 11th. Last month. And Ring of Honor voting ends tomorrow. And here's what I hate, guys. And you tell me if you agree or not. But I look at all these inaugural candidates that are still there in this backlog. And then I see the names there of the ones that they're adding. Andrew Whitworth, slightly older than us. AJ Green, literally our age. Chris Collinsworth is one of those guys that's been in there for a long time. James Brooks, Reggie Williams, Max Montoya, Bob Trumpy, David Fulcher, Jim Breach. Those are all guys that would have been in the Ring of Honor a long time ago. And so, I see Gino and Carlos. You can just look at that graphic if you're watching and not listening, and you can tell which guys were just added because of how current their photos are. Yeah. Paul, Green, Whitworth, Atkins, Dunlap.
Also highlighted in orange.
And the way, yeah, for sure, that's a good point. And the way, they didn't even need to highlight it.
No, they didn't.
The way they handled this, where one of those guys can get in this year, is eligible to get in this year, and I think one will.
Yeah.
And all of those guys are awesome. This isn't some anti-Gino, anti-AJ, anti-Whit.
No. Right.
But what it is I look at the guys that were there, the Fulchers, the Montoyas, the Trumpies, the Reggie Williamses, Breach, Brooks, Collinsworth. I'm going to hit all of them. One of those guys is going to get in this year guaranteed. And then after that, they may be waiting a long, long time. And the Bob Trumpy example is the one I will give. He's the best tight end in franchise history. A couple of years ago, I said, you got to vote him in. And you got to vote him in, and I did it age-based. Not that he's a better franchise player than Corey Dillon or better all-time than some of these other guys that have gotten in. Because not necessarily, but he deserves to be in, and he died last fall. And that's the unfortunate part about this is the Bengals are playing catch-up. And the way they've structured this process now is this year, one of the original nominations, one of the 7 will get in. And maybe 2 if they get the most votes, but at least 1 will get in. And then one of the modern, for lack of a better term, nominees, one of the new additions could get in. And then next year, it's only 1 that gets in. And Geno Atkins is going to whoop all those other guys next year if he doesn't get in this year. AJ Green is going to whoop all of those guys next year because they deserve to be in, but they also recently retired. And I hate this because the older guys are not going to get their due. Someone is going to be left out. Someone's going to be looking at it and saying, well, I would have been inducted in 1999 when no one else was watching and Akili Smith was the hope of the franchise. But there was no Ring of Honor then. They didn't have that. They weren't honoring their past then. And so they're playing catch up now. And so to have a guy that literally played against Joe Burrow and Andrew Whitworth in Super Bowl 56, to have a guy in AJ Green who caught a touchdown from Joe Burrow in his rookie season, those guys are eligible for the Ring of Honor now. I hate this process. I think they've gotten it wrong. They've gotten a ton right this offseason, big swing and a miss here by the Bengals.
Yeah, completely agree with your take here. It's just, I fear, like you said, that the guys that deserve to be in the Ring of Honor are, one, not going to get in for a long time, and two, not be around to have that honor, to have that recognition. And I would hate to see a world where that's happening. And to your point, AJ Green, Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap, Whitworth have played so recently. I wish the Bengals would have waited another couple of years before introducing, these new nominees to the ballot to make sure that you're honoring and preserving, the legacy of the ones that they came before. Because a guy like Jim Breach absolutely deserves to be in the Bengals Ring of Honor. I fear he's going to be one of the guys on the outside looking in for the next couple of years and maybe even longer.
Yeah, I think of Jim Breach. I don't even know if there's a chance. Realistically, and he's the best kicker in franchise history, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be a chance. I don't think he has a chance because you look at all those other names, I think they're all going to get more votes than Jim Breach. I hope not. I hope he has his chance. I really like Jim a lot. But you look at it like Fulcher, Collinsworth, Breach, all guys that to me would be behind Montoya, Trumpy, Williams, and Brooks.
Yeah.
Like historically, in when they should be. Well, just do the math here. If even if one of these modern candidates doesn't get in this year, next year it's down to one, and I think AJ Green is going to get his due. Yeah. Even if this year the season ticket holders rise up and get two of these previous nominations in, the modern guys are coming, and it's a tough battle, and it stinks because there's going to be not just one. It won't be just Jim. Multiple guys are going to be on the outside looking in here.
One thing I just can't wrap my head around is why the Bengals are shortening or cutting down these classes so quickly. Going to one next year, I really just don't understand at all. I think when you look at this list, 7 of the original nominees still sitting here. Why not keep it open with the 1 and 1 if you want to add the new nominees for multiple years until these guys are in? Or this year, before adding the modern nominees, put all 7 of these guys in before you shift the ballot. No one would argue that any of these 7 on the original ballot for the Ring of Honor don't deserve that spot. Quite frankly, most people are arguing the opposite. Exactly what James is saying, that with this setup, they might miss out on a recognition that they clearly deserve. So I do not understand any kind of justification for how they've set this up. We knew that it was going to be a tall task to play catch up and play catch up correctly when they started this just a few years ago. So I mean, I certainly hope they find a way to get this right. But the way it's set up right now is a huge miss.
And to James, what you were just saying, I hope the season ticket members do get it right. It is a weighted vote, so the longer you've had your season tickets, the more that vote weighs in the process. So for the longtime season ticket members, if you haven't voted yet, please, I'm going to beg you to vote for, the legacy, the older players who deserve their moment, deserve to be in the Bengals Ring of Honor. Because, it's just, I would hate to see a world where these guys aren't around to see their legacy honored in that way.
Yeah, I look at it, and to me, Reggie Williams, Bob Trumpy are the two that really stand out. A few years ago, it was Lamar and Trumpy for me. Lamar got in last year. Well-deserved, should. And I say that, and then I'm like, but Montoya. But James Brooks, who I think you could easily make the case that he's the best running back in franchise history and right there with Corey Dillon. And I think some that didn't watch James Brooks think otherwise, and I didn't, but I've done the research now, and it's really close. It's 1 and 1A, and take it however you want to. But he was awesome in an era that he didn't necessarily fit in from a pass-catching running back standpoint. He was able to do that and run between the tackles. The point is all these guys are super talented, and highlighting them makes sure they don't get lost.
Right.
I'm not afraid to admit that. So when they brought Ken Riley in to honor him in 2017 for part of the 50? It was the 50-year anniversary stuff. Ken Riley wasn't even on my radar, and I'd followed the Bengals my entire life. Like, that's how bad it was. He's the best corner in franchise history. Yeah. Hall of Famer now. Everybody knows him now. But that's the importance of this Ring of Honor. And so to think that, let's just say a third of those, 2 or 3 of these 7 previous nominees that have been around don't make it into the Ring of Honor, then their legacies get lost a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I do not want that to be the case. And what's the example? The example is Ken Riley, because his legacy absolutely got lost until 2017. And then his son and the movement and the fans and everybody have rallied around him to push that, and obviously him getting into the Ring of Honor and then eventually in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's awesome. Guess what? It all happened after he passed away too, which is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations about Bengals players sitting on the outside of the Hall of Fame. Willie Anderson got his recognition of the Ring of Honor, but still on the outside of the Hall of Fame. And I think it's hard to ever push for ex-Bengals players to get that national recognition if they don't get it in the team organization that they played for. This is such an important thing for the Bengals to, honor those guys in the past, because we all want everyone to recognize them. And that's exactly what James is saying there. If we didn't know the story of Ken Riley and how great he was before the Bengals, started that campaign in a way, then I'm sure no one outside of Cincinnati did. And that is a huge, huge miss by the Bengals to not, prop up their stars and the people that built this franchise. And that's why, I'm so hopeful that they change this, because it seems like everyone has been on the same side of this. And it's nothing against Gino or AJ or Carlos. They're some of the best players in franchise history, and there's no way around that. But that's part of why it's an issue, because if they're on the ballot, they will get voted in. And that, whether we like it or not, that's going to be the reality of the situation. It's going to be very hard for a lot of season ticket holders to open that app, see AJ Green and Geno Atkins, and not vote them into the Ring of Honor.
That's why now is when those original nominees have to be voted in, because to your point, when this moves to just one nominee, okay, you're going to have Gino, Carlos, AJ, Leon, Andrew at some point here in the next couple of years all getting in, and then we're not that far removed from when's Jamar Chase, when's Joe Burrow. Eventually, the years when they come to retire, they're going to be, first not only nominees, but they're going to get in on first go.
When's Ryan Finley?
It's a good question. He should get in just for that one game. The QB sneak.
I was not expecting that one.
I got you. But yes, that's it. That's the answer. So
now, the question I would have: would a fix to this be what the Hall of Fame does? You have to wait a certain amount of time after you retire.
Yes. That would help. That would help.
That'd be a huge help.
I also think for at least the 7, you should get every season ticket holder should get maybe 2 votes for the 7 original. And if you get a certain percentage of those votes, you get in. No cap.
Would love a percentage of the votes.
So you can only vote for 2, but if you get a certain percent, so if 3 guys have 70% of the vote, and I don't know if that's even right, but maybe, then all 3 get it. And then that's it. And if it's 2, then it's 2. And do a percentage of the vote for the original candidates, and then you can start to honor. Because AJ was last great like a decade ago. Like, I get it. Like, Leon Hall has been gone for a long time. I get wanting to honor those guys. Andrew Whitworth's last season with the Bengals was 2016. Like, it was a long time. It doesn't feel that long ago in some respects, but it was. I get adding them, but only if you're caught up, and they're not caught up. So some path to doing that, because then you could say, because I know they're worried about too many candidates going in and not having enough. That's one thing. You also want it to be prestigious. Well, it's prestigious if you get X amount of the vote. And maybe it's 80%. I'm throwing out 65. Maybe it's 80%. I don't know what it would be. But that would at least give you a chance and give the original nominees a chance to get in after this year. Not that they wouldn't, but I think that there's just going to be a lot of people that say, hey, man, I remember watching AJ and how good he was, and I'm going to vote for him over someone that I watched when I was little, or it's been a long time, and I'm going to look at the stats and feel differently about. You feel differently 30 years removed from a guy playing 40 years removed. Like, if you look at Jim Breach's kicking stats and you compare him to modern day, people can be like, oh, was he good? Yeah, heck yes, he was really good. and so that's the struggle for me, is I feel like the farther removed we get, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah, or just keep it how they're doing it for this year, where one original nominee will get in, like guaranteed almost, and you at least have that for the next 5 to 7 years if you don't want to go all 7, to ensure that some of these guys, do get that recognition and honor that they deserve.
I know the talking point for a lot of people is that they want it to be prestigious. They don't want everyone getting in one off season or whatever it is. But I think it takes away from the Ring of Honor the more of these guys that aren't in it. We talk about Jim Breach being on the outside looking in potentially. He's the franchise's all-time leading scorer. Him not being honored in your Ring of Honor takes something away from that Ring of Honor. And I think it's not just him. It's most of those 7, all of those 7 original nominees on that list. And I don't think there's a worry that Geno Atkins would be on the outside looking in a decade, or AJ Green would be on the outside looking in a decade. So what's the rush? And I think that's what I keep coming back to. It seems like this is a rush to get a newer era of players in when it's not necessary yet.
I would vote for Reggie Williams, Bob Trumpy. Who are you voting for?
That's who I voted for.
I would go Jim Breach, Bob Trumpy.
Yeah, get it. We will see what happens. Voting ends tomorrow, so if you're a season ticket holder, make sure you vote for the Ring of Honor. Up next, a guy that hopes to get into that conversation one day, Jordan Battle. We'll discuss expectations for him next, right here on First Word.
Crazy what goes into game planning against Dexter. If you can give us some of that, because that's obviously what defenses are going to be doing all season long. Offenses
I mean, I'm not going to. We had a good plan against him in New York in 24. He got like a sloppy one kind of late in the play.
Sure.
I mean, that was when he was leading the league in sacks too. So his film, he's horrifying as a center going into games like that with a guy of that size and speed. Really, what I try to focus on when we're game planning for a guy of that caliber is, on the rank and file plays where we can get him doubled, let's get him doubled. And then when your number's called and he's on your dance card, you got to come through as much as you can. And I think that's going to cause a lot of stress for opposing centers, which brings me glee.
Joe makes the comment, and I read it. I was in the room, but I read it, and I was like, he didn't say that. And I was in the room when he said it, but he's like, we're going to go out there and win a Super Bowl this year. And he just said it so nonchalant. I was like, no, he said, go out and try to win a Super Bowl. And then I went back and, no, he said, go out and win a Super Bowl. When you see that from QB1 in May, and it was May at the time, what goes through your mind? What tone does that set for the rest of the team and organization?
I think that's a great goal. And it's always our goal, but there's a lot of football to be played until then. So I don't concern myself with February 27 right now. We got Dexter again tomorrow, and there's a lot of work to be done. I think we're on the right track. I'm not a prediction guy. I'm an internal goals guy. I'll throw out. I'll throw out Super Bowl when it's appropriate, but. As of June 2nd right now, I am going to just continue to do my job to the best of my ability.
What internal goals?
Well, always is win the division. And so we started 2-0 last year, and then obviously all that happened with Joe. And so that was kind of we got that monkey off our back, but then, had a whole new set of issues. So, for the last couple of years, it's just let's start strong. So, I mean, to me, it starts with winning the division. You got to win your division. That's always the first goal. And then as we get going, Super Bowl is always the goal, overarching. I just, we don't talk about that much internally. I did fire everyone up that Joe said that, and I love that. But we have a lot of things to work on before we're going to be touting Super Bowl after we missed the dance 3 years in a row.
Do you think that's by design for him?
Oh, yeah.
Like he knew, he was like, oh, I'm going to do that.
Oh, he does a great job with all. He's a very calculated man.
That's what I figured.
And we are all going for a Super Bowl, but there's a lot of work to be done to make that happen. It's not just we're talented on paper, and that's why we've had these last 2 OTAs have been, some of the best I've been a part of as a Cincinnati Bengal.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
It's no secret that the Bengals defense needs to be much improved, and they've added plenty of new faces. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. Even though they've added a bunch of new faces, guess what? They need some of the old faces to get better, to improve. One of those guys that they're banking on is Jordan Battle. Alongside Brian Cook, can Battle take a big step forward We're going to hear from Jordan in just a second. It's been an eventful week for him.
Yeah.
But before we hear from Jordan, let's set some expectations for him. Where are you guys at entering year 4 with the former third-round pick who started last year, played a ton, had some ups, had some downs, but the Bengals banking on him to have more ups this season?
Certainly. 4 interceptions last year, 2 forced fumbles. I think that's the thing that really jumps off the page with me. With Jordan Battle is, sure, there's some missed tackle problems. There's some other issues with Battle. But when he does make plays, they are impact plays. He knows how to go get the ball. He knows how to change the flow of a game. And that's something that I love to see in a young player, because it's easy to teach tackling. It's easy to teach the fundamentals of football, but it's hard to teach that nose for the ball. And Jordan Battle has that, and he's a difference maker. And that was one of the main reasons the Bengals brought in Geno Stone, was because of the interceptions and the stuff he was able to do as the third safety in that Ravens defense before he came over to Cincinnati a few years ago. Battle can fill that role of the big play guy, because Brian Cook, among all the things he does really, really well, he's not that turnovers guy. He doesn't have a ton of interceptions, doesn't have a ton of forced fumbles. I think the pairing of the two of them could build one of the most well-rounded safety rooms in maybe the entire league.
I am really excited to see, to that point, how Battle is going to work and play alongside Brian Cook. I think Cook is going to do wonders for Battle's game. And you just look at Jordan's numbers, his PFF grades over the last couple of years. In 2023, his coverage grade was a 76, was a coverage grade, again, a 76 in 2024. And then for some reason took a massive dip to a 54.5 in 2025. And you wonder how much of that had to do with just the overall struggles and just how historically bad this Bengals defense was a year ago. And so I have to imagine a guy like Brian Cook is only going to help Jordan Battle kind of get back to maybe that form we saw out of his rookie season, because I think a lot of us were really high on him and what we saw in 2023.
No question.
They need him to be what Von Bell was when he signed.
Yeah.
Like, Brian Cook is going to be the key piece, the stabilizing piece, the guy that puts out all the fires like Jesse did.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Battle, when they drafted him, it felt like they thought he could be the next Von Bell. And Von Bell, it took time for him to become what he was here in Cincinnati, helping them go to the Super Bowl, get to the AFC Championship game in back-to-back years, because he was on his second contract, because he had developed and gone and taken his lumps and played in big games with the Saints. Well, now it's Jordan Battle's time. And so I think realistic expectations for him, to Jacob's point, force those splash plays, and you just got to, those lows, those valleys, where you have the missed tackle on Colston Loveland, you have some boneheaded plays on the sideline, some missed tackles. They'll eliminate those. And if you eliminate those and have the splash plays, you're going to be a quality starting safety in the league, whether it's here, whether it's elsewhere. Obviously, he's entering a contract year. Here's what Jordan Battle had to say, a part of what he had to say, talking to reporters earlier this week in the Bengals locker room.
At this point of OTAs, why or what do you feel has grown in terms of your confidence, not only for yourself but for the group as well?
I mean, the confidence of the team, is already through the roof. Just with the guys we signed, we feel very comfortable in the things that they do. And just with the guys coming back, I feel like everybody's matured, a little bit more, and everybody's ready to take the next step. As far as myself, just trying to be more of a vocal leader. I'm trying to just, step out of my comfort zone, and whenever I see something, speak up about it, understanding that, I'm in a position to where I could, speak up, just voice my opinion, and guys will listen.
Being a vocal leader also kind of signifies that you have a command of the defense and what Al Golden wants, what Chuck Burks wants, and how to play the secondary. How have you worked on that?
Yeah, for sure. Just, coming in every day, whether that's early, whether, it's getting up with JK, seeing whatever we can do to, impact our defense, impact our calls. Sometimes we have certain calls that have different meanings, but it sounds the same, like it's maybe in the same category or something else, so just trying to, specify those things, and put them in different categories and give them different names so it make it easier for us.
That confidence you said the team has from the offseason moves, I mean, does that show up on the field? Can you sense a difference compared to your last couple of years?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, going into this year's OTAs is probably the most confident I've been with the group. I feel like everybody's, just bonding so easily. Even with the new guys, coming in, it was like we knew these guys last year. and we just met him. So it's been fun, bonding and getting to know everybody.
Does that surprise you? Just expecting to be able to quickly kind of connect with so many new pieces?
Nah, not really, but when you see that, that everybody's, pretty much alike in a way, it's kind of fun to see, Boy has a cool personality, Dex and BJ been together for a while, so it's easy for him to mess with BJ. And BJ probably had the biggest personality on the team, so that make Dex want to have a big personality as well. So it's just been fun getting to learn guys, getting to know guys, and B Cook as well. Like day one meeting him, it's been like we've been brothers our whole life, so it's been cool.
I remember talking to you at the end of your rookie year, and you were talking about how you wanted to be a leader, you wanted to be a captain on this team as far as a rookie, because you got to know your place. And is that still a goal that you want to wear a C at some point?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a goal, this year. Trying to get that C. Be a leader on this team, on this defense. And be the guy that guys could look up to. And come to. When they have problems. When something's not going on at home, not going right at home. You could tell me about it. We could talk about it. And lead outside the door, and then we get in the building. It's just football. And just be comfortable around guys.
Is that something you guys consciously think about over this process, over training camp, or is it the day they say it's time to vote, you're like, oh, you just popping your head then?
I probably wouldn't say I'm thinking about it right now. I haven't been thinking about it, probably until you just said something. But it's just about, having the confidence, and guys having the confidence in me, and then you having the confidence in yourself as well to be able to go out, go step on the field and then, get a play, call out a play, make the adjustments, and then everybody's listening and then everybody's reacting and we're doing good, we're making plays. It's been a step forward this year. I feel like for myself, just being that guy who guys feel is a vocal leader, and I just got to keep progressing.
That entire conversation with Jordan Battle is on the Cincinnati Bengals Talk YouTube channel. Look, Battle, they're banking on him being a real guy, being a playmaker. And I think that's, if they can be solid everywhere defensively and then they have a few guys that are playmakers, maybe he's one, maybe Demetrius Knight is one, and they make some splash plays. Maybe they're not perfect, but they make some splash plays. It's going to go a long way on this defense because I know Cook is going to be consistent. I know what he's going to bring. He's not going to miss many tackles. He might not have the ball production. Hopefully Battle can give you that, give you some of those splash plays, because then they complement each other well, and you feel really good about that safety room.
It's been a revolving door in that second safety position next to Battle since he got here. And I think the consistency and some kind of stability will make it a lot better. And also the corners. I mean, even leading into last season, now we're talking about DJ Turner as potentially a $30 million extension guy who's a no-doubt Pro Bowler this season. Last year, he wasn't even the starter going into week one. I think as the whole secondary takes a step forward, also coupled with the raise in pass rush production we can expect from the defensive line this year, Jordan Battle's job should get a lot easier. And this comes with more time under his belt, more snaps, more experience. So his progression should just be happening naturally as well when the talent is added to the defense. So all of that should marry up and have a really exciting season for Battle this year. I'm certainly buying stock throughout this offseason.
I am too, and we saw just what kind of difference having that stability in that safeties room made in 2021 with Jesse Bates and Von Bell, and how well they played off of each other, and the big time moments that those two guys really stepped up in. I don't think it's out of the question to think that Jordan Battle and Brian Cook can be that for the Bengals in 2026, and I loved hearing Jordan just say that this is the most confident he has felt in this group since he has gotten here. I think that goes a long way too, especially when you have, not only all the changes that you had on the defensive side, but looking for this defense to massively improve from what we saw in each of the last two seasons.
A career high 125 tackles. He started every game last year. And the fact that he was able to do that, but also have the 4 interceptions. The production's there. Now you need him to leap because year one didn't play a lot. Year two was weird because they brought Von Bell back, and it was just kind of awkward. Last year, played a lot, got his opportunity, showed some flashes. This year needs to be his year. And if it is, he's going to get paid. Might be here, could be elsewhere. But if he plays well, then he's certainly going to get his payday. The Bengals are going to be better off for it. We have plenty of Bengals coming your way. We'll dive into the latest on Joe Burrow and a change he's making coming up later in the show. With you till 11 o'clock, this is First Word right here on The Crown.
were an actor in college. You went to school for drama.
Yes.
Which is, let me tell you what. If any creatives out there who are not actively creating, it makes you go crazy. And I have witnessed firsthand a creative who didn't professionally create and had to take care of so many damn kids and husbands along the way, and it drove you crazy for so long. Now, as a grown woman at this point and been in my career as long as I have so much perspective on your life and how you were in all of your 30s and your 40s, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, you created in your home. You made our homes were beautiful, but I feel like, oh my God, because when I don't create, I go nuts. Like, I go absolutely nuts.
I was busy.
Very busy.
Obviously. I was busy with my children. And
Well, I'll say this. You had 4 kids by the time you were 28. We had a great life.
we did.
Yeah, we had a great life. We weren't the richest, we weren't the smartest, we weren't the anythingest ever, but we had a blast. We had a house, we had a dog, we had a pool, we went to school, we had a bunch of friends.
Thank God I had a rich mother. That helps a lot.
Man, I wonder what that's like. God.
You never know.
I won't. Not at all. Well, so now, if you could give me any advice at 40 years old, single girl, what would you say?
Get pregnant. Immediately.
Well, there we go. If anyone's got some
All
strong
official
DNA.
insemination. Just make sure the guy is smart and handsome.
Okay. True.
And oh man, if you look at Turner and you look at where cornerbacks are making, he's going to get paid. Like, if you think he's going to get paid $15 million per year, you're mistaken. He's going to get that first number. That average annual value is going to start with a 2. And on the low end, I think it's going to be like $22 million per year. You're thinking like a 4-year, $88 million extension. And I'm not even sure that gets it done. Depends on the guarantees and the structure and all of those things. DJ Turner has a ton of value. He knows it. The Bengals know it. And how this goes, where this goes, it's going to come down to how close they can get to where he thinks his value will be next year if he plays well this year. Because that cornerback, just the cornerback market in general, is booming. And for good reason. Corners are really valuable. Wide receivers haven't been as valuable as in NFL history as they are right now. That means that cornerback market has started to boom, and you can see it right there.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
We have Bengals history that we will get to coming up at 10 o'clock here on First Word. I'm James Rapien. He's Jacob Tissot alongside Marisa Contipelli. And, well, it's 9:34. You know what it means? It's time for Contipelli's Countdown.
That's right. And before we get to Bengals history, we need to get to some U.S. history and America history because North America is co-hosting the World Cup and it all kicks off this evening. So in honor of the World Cup hitting North America, I thought we had to have a countdown-themed World Cup for you today. Not necessarily a preview because we already have that for you on our YouTube channels and we have an interview with Jeff Cameron on the show tomorrow. But instead, 5 of the kind of like more neat and cool things that I've seen World Cup related, and starting off in Vancouver where they have completely transformed their Science Center into the World Cup ball. I thought this was just such a unique idea that they had. This is what the original Science Center typically looks like. It looks so much cooler with the World Cup ball, especially lit up at night. I think they should keep this year round, guys.
This is awesome. I love anyone leaning into it. It's a worldwide event. Have some fun. This is super cool.
Yeah, love it. I love that. I love that they're doing things to make this feel as big as it is.
Yeah.
And that is sweet. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. That's really cool.
No, it really doesn't. Absolutely love what they are doing over in Vancouver. And a while ago, we got to see the World Cup logo for this year, 2026, revealed. But recently, saw this graphic come across the socials where they compiled a lot of the recent World Cup logos. And if you take a look at the list, which one kind of sticks out to you guys in terms of your favorite? I'll be honest, I kind of struggled with this. I was going back and forth between Russia and, the South Africa one I really liked.
You might be over there for Countdown, but this side of the desk always sticks together. Those two are my two favorites as well. I like the Brazil one. I think the hand is good on the one
serious?
from Brazil. The South Africa one's my favorite, but I think the Russia one's a close second.
I like Russia. South Africa's trying too hard. This year, bottom right.
This year's not bad. It's too minimal to me.
It's good.
I love it
but
because it's
creativity-wise, South Africa is the only one that actually has like a player looking like they're kicking a ball.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is different, no doubt about it. I think in '94 they did like the Microsoft Paint, right? Like that's just part of that. That shows the age. But no, I think this year's is just awesome. We know what it's about. It's about that trophy. It's about getting that. You see the 2026. It's subtle but obvious at the same time. I like it.
What are the chances that this 2026 World Cup logo is the Super Bowl switch to the silvers, and those black numbers for the years behind them just keep moving? It's 30 the next time the trophy stays in the middle, and we lose the unique logos from here on. That's my worry with what I'm seeing with that 2026 logo.
It is the only one too that actually looks like the real trophy
Right,
itself.
it's a picture of the trophy, it's the numbers.
I love it.
Not a fan.
No,
Not a fan.
I need the again. We're
I'm not
always
saying
aligned.
keep
I
it
need
forever,
that
just this
creativity.
year.
I need something different. I don't want to see that world either. You know what I do love seeing though is the World Cup mascots. And I hate to say this, I was new to the game. I did not realize that the World Cup mascots were so cute, honestly. I thought this was just adorable. Kind of go through the years. FIFA on their website has a list of every single World Cup mascot, but these are the last 6 prior to this year's World Cup.
That's awesome. I was also unaware that the World Cup had a mascot just for the tournament. These are all really cool. I love how they lean into whatever the host country is, obviously, and give them some love for that. So I think it's really cool.
2018, maybe 2006.
I was going to say, give me 2006.
2006 or 2018, those are the two. Those are the two for me. I will say this, mascots, better than logos. I don't know if that's a take or not, but give me all the mascots.
100% agree.
I'm a fan, yeah.
I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce some of their names, though.
No. We'll go by here.
It's a little out of my realm. You know what's not out of our realm, though, is college football. And when I saw this come across the socials, knew we had to add it to the countdown because a college football fan helps, those who don't follow soccer as closely internationally, kind of help compare the World Cup teams to college football teams. And I thought this was a great representation, especially you look down there in Group D, comparing the U.S. to Iowa State. You also have some other powerhouses there, too, in other groups, comparing Germany over to Michigan and teams like France to Ohio State.
U.S., Arizona State. I was a little bit more confident before I saw this comparison. Puts it in a perspective that I understand well. I hope that's the Camp Catabo Arizona State and not last year's Arizona State, because then, little dark horse run, I'm all in.
Look at you. Look at you. I love it. It's World Cup for honestly the majority of our audience. And I think that's cool. As many ways as you can find to familiarize the average fan with World Cup and that's how you're going to get more interest here locally, and I love that. So no, this is a great idea. I love some of the comps, and I'm not sure there's a better way to describe the World Cup to Jacob Tissot than going with colleges. And I'm just really bummed that Group C has Alabama. I wish this just wouldn't have included Alabama to get under his skin, but obviously Bama made the cut.
Might have to pull for Brazil.
There might be one other way to get Jacob Tissot, to compare teams or countries in the World Cup, and that's number 1 here on the countdown. This fan went viral in 2022 for consuming a beer from every single country that was represented in the World Cup. Well, this year, the field was expanded to 48 countries and teams, and you know what? This fan didn't disappoint. He upped his game and has a beer from every single country playing in this year's World Cup.
You're absolutely right. My two favorite parts about soccer are beer and college football.
Yeah. Yes. One, funny joke, but I mean, 48, we could do that. That's called Friday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to get this
Is this
done.
turning into a challenge for the two of you?
I don't even know if it needs to be a challenge, just a bonding experience. We drink, we get together, and we drink all 48 and watch soccer.
Now, the coolest thing of this picture, obviously the 48 beers is great. His cup is the World Cup trophy. That is a phenomenal cup to be drinking out of for the World Cup. I'm all for it, and this seems like a great idea.
Yeah, so let's do it?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
I'm in.
48, it wouldn't be just on a Friday, probably.
Friday night. We got a show in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. Friday night. So we'll limit it to that. It'll be, but yes, I think we can do it. 1, 2. I'm excited to try 48 different beers.
I don't know why this is the thing of everything that we've talked about on the show that you're wishy-washy on. We could absolutely do this.
Drink 48?
Yes.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Wait, you don't think
You're more confident you can out-eat Dexter Lawrence with tacos.
Yeah, that was a thing.
No, but drinking 48, like, are we splitting them?
You need 3.
You're
I
not
need
splitting
3.
them.
I got 45.
No, I want to try all of them. So that's it.
That's the thing, is we're going to have to split at each individual beer.
Yeah. Or just have 48 each.
The World Cup,
Now you're
5-6
thinking.
weeks. You guys got plenty of time. There's no rush to it. Going to be responsible
Yeah.
here on First Word.
Of course. Of course.
Well, yeah, responsible. By the way, when matches aren't going on, FIFA. I don't know if you've played.
Never.
You'll have so much fun.
I've heard FIFA's awesome.
I love playing FIFA, so there we go.
I'm in.
Great ideas being had here on First Word, and we still have plenty of more to get to for you on today's show. And coming up next, time for us to revisit our poll question of the day. The Bengals restructured Joe Burrow's contract. What does it mean? What do you guys think? We will get to some of your answers right here next. We're with you until 11 o'clock on First Word.
Sometimes people misconstrue what an explanation and an excuse. Because a big explanation to why the Reds are underperforming this year are the injuries.
Sure,
There's no doubt
absolutely.
about it. And people say, oh, that's just a crutch, that's an excuse. No, that's part of the explanation why this team is not playing well. And I think as fans and people who watch the game and people who talk about the game like we do, I think sometimes we take this pie and we try to slice it up and say, who does the big piece of pie of blame go to? And everybody wants to do Nick Kroll and the Reds front office at all. At what point does a big slice, and I mean a really big slice, have to go to players who have just underperformed? Because I think if we laid out, guys, the Reds' top 10 players, and everybody would have it a little bit different, but I think 8 or 9 of the Reds' top 10 players, we would all agree are pretty much the same on everybody's lists. I think at least half, if not more than half, have underperformed this year.
Or are hurt.
Or hurt.
Yes.
Or both.
Yeah. Well, the Bengals had a linebacker. Have you heard anything linebacker-wise, free agent-wise, of them being interested, or are they just really comfortable with Demetrius Knight, Barrett Carter, and what they have in that room?
I mean, I could see them adding. This is a time of year that's tricky. There's not a lot of free agency movement. Because it's in May and June, you kind of want to see what your young guys can do, see what you have, and then if you realize, oh wow, these guys can't play, then you go sign somebody. Or if you say, oh, we might have something there. Like the Chiefs are a good example. They could use some receiver help, I would say. But you got a young guy like Jalen Royals who looks pretty good. It's like, okay, well, maybe we can roll with this or at least go into camp and see what we have. So I could see Cincinnati adding a linebacker. I mean, hey, Jermaine Pratt's still out there. He was a good player for them. I could see him going back to the Colts where he was with Lou Anarumo and those guys, or maybe Cincinnati wants to entertain that. I know it didn't end the best, so maybe that's not the best route. You got Matt Milano still out there. The problem with the linebackers is it's a lot of aging players. So I think the teams that want to make a big-time upgrade would look at a trade, and there aren't teams really eager to give up like a Jordan Brooks in Miami. Unless you're giving up major capital. So for the Bengals' taste, especially with giving up the first for Dexter Lawrence, I don't know that they would make another big swing for a trade right now. So we'll see, but it depends on your level of desperation. So we'll see how they feel coming out of minicamp. And it wouldn't shock me, certainly, but nothing's on my radar right now for that.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show. We fought through that one, baby.
You did. You powered through.
We got to power through. We got to fight through. We got to make it work. That's what we do every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Did you see us with our feet up last week? Did you see the screen?
Feet up?
Did you?
Yeah, I
she
did see that.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And the shrug one. There was a lot
I'm
of
at a
memes
bad
last
angle
week.
right
Do you
now.
think
I
you
was
can
in
do
her
it?
seat.
Yeah, you couldn't do it right now.
I
have
really don't want you to pull a hamstring.
I'm
worried. Shocked I didn't.
Test show, he tries to put his feet up and he can't, and he pulls a hamstring.
Popped it right there.
Actually,
Right
it
down
actually
there.
happened.
It's ridiculous. So yeah,
Derailed a whole countdown.
Those are
always
that was
right.
the best test countdown.
Yeah.
down for the countdown.
That's
All
right.
Let's be honest here. That's what happened. Let's dive into today's poll question. It involves Joe Burrow. It involves him restructuring, or the Bengals restructuring his contract. I keep saying that because everyone says that Joe should restructure his deal. He's in charge of restructuring his deal. And that's why it's so noteworthy. The Bengals restructured Joe Burrow's contract, freed up $10 million in cap space for this year. What's your reaction to the Bengals restructuring Joe's contract to clear $10 million? Well, excited, but what's next? 52.4% of you say that you're excited, but you're wondering what's next. Great step. All in, 24.8%. In that camp, why only $10 million? 13%, 9.5%. Better late than never. What's wrong with me saying $10 million?
Hated every second of it.
Why?
Glad the Bengals got the restructure done. It's a huge step forward for an offseason that has been so far outside of any organizational norms, and this is a huge step for them. I think excited, but what's next is the natural question because the Bengals have never done this in the past, so it only makes sense that they're doing it to do another move. So we'll see what that is, but I think with the majority is where I'd lie as well.
I hope it's multiple moves. I don't want just one. Let's keep making things happen here, Bengals. But no, very excited. My other part where I kind of fell into why only the $10 million. You had the opportunity to go up to 19. You brought this up earlier. Maybe it's because they're going to rework things next year or the year after. But yeah, I hope the $10 million clearing that in cap space will be enough of the wiggle room and flexibility that they need to do multiple things
Just
here.
looking at Joe's contract now after the restructure, cap hit this year down to about $36 million. Next year, up to $55. So would be an expectation that maybe this is revisited next offseason.
Yeah, and I think it will be, especially with the Patrick Mahomes situation. And when you look at that, Mahomes now he's at that $65 million. Joe Burrow's going to want that. And he's thinking, all right, well, I'm going to go be MVP and I'm going to lead him to a Super Bowl and I'm going to have 3 years left on my contract and rework whatever you want, but let's add a few years to it. And that's where the conversation shifts. And I think it's an important point. You're probably going to hear me talk a lot about this. The fact that the Bengals did everything they did this offseason, for all of the national, oh my goodness, what's going on with Joe? Could Joe end up here or there or elsewhere? It is far more likely that he plays well this year and signs an extension with this team next offseason. And that is a great place to be in. You hope to be in that position. Much like when you drafted Joe Burrow, you hoped in 2023 you were going to make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I could certainly hope that the Bengals have to be tasked with that next offseason, that he plays so well, that they play so well, that he's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Good problem to have, right?
It's the best problem.
A great problem to have, and
Yes.
I think with that, sort of looming in the near future, this restructure makes it a great, continue to work to try to win this year. But I think that's another reason why it's such a big deal that all the additions this season were multi-year additions. These weren't, stopgap fixes on the defense. These are guys who are going to be here and be the core for a long time, because we talked about this offseason. The Bengals not having a ton of distractions. This restructure being taken care of takes another one off that list. But next year, probably not the case. So it's nice to have a lot of this stuff taken care of for multiple years now.
Yeah, it is for sure. Let's dive into some of your responses here to today's poll question. And obviously, there were plenty of you interested in what Joe Burrow did and what the Bengals did with his contract. I'm hoping for a trade to the Dolphins for Jordan Brooks and a DJ Turner extension. I think this is probably the best case scenario from a maximizing the roster standpoint. If Brooks is suddenly in stripes and Turner is extended, well, Josh is on to something.
I'm in. I've never been more in.
I think our guy, AJ Lowe, also onto something. Sign a Bobby. My campaign for the rest of this offseason.
Yeah. You still prefer Wagner over Okereke? Or are you just give me a Bobby?
No, definitely Wagner over Okereke. If I had my choice out of the two, but I would take either over nothing.
Correct.
Give me one, not none, is what Marisa says there when it comes to linebacker. Marcus Zeke says, I hope a veteran linebacker. I believe in the young core, but the vets available to me are no-brainer if the money works. That's what I think's interesting is the Bengals are getting a look at all of these linebackers. And Knight, Carter, obviously Oren Burks in year 2. The other thing they could do, and this probably won't be the only time we bring this up, they could move on from Oren Burks, save a few $1 million if that's the holdup. Also, these veteran prices are going to come down. And if I'm either Bobby, if I'm Shaq Thompson, like any of these guys, I'd be open to coming here because I think I could earn playing time right away and earn snaps right away. And I think Wagner would want to start. I think the Bengals would be reluctant to sign someone to start right away. Wagner's not going to come in here and be Dalton Reisner last year where he's like, I'm going to back up Lucas Patrick. It was ridiculous to begin with. Reisner's a much better player. But there was no handshake agreement that Reisner was going to start. Injuries and everything like that contributed to it, and Reisner got on the field right away. But I think that the Bengals, at least as of now, they're not going to sign someone, at least at the price point that they're looking at, or that Wagner wants, if that person is saying, hey, I have to start. Now, if one of these young linebackers struggles a bit after minicamp, they reevaluate it, reassess it, and the price comes down for Wagner, maybe it's possible. I'm not sure it's really on their radar now as a realistic option.
Yeah, I think so much of the conversation around linebacker focuses on Knight and Carter, but outside of those two, there's not other options as well. And that's why it's such a need in my mind, is because there's no depth. What happens if those guys don't perform? It's a huge question. But what happens if injuries pop up or anything along those lines that causes, Knight or Carter to miss, 2-3 games here or there? You're then forced to start Oren Burks and not really have another option in that linebacker room. So I think going out to get someone, maybe, if Wagner needs a guarantee to start and that doesn't align with what the Bengals want to do, that's fine in a way. But I don't think that you have to add a linebacker anyway. You just need it for the bodies at this point, it seems like. And it changes a lot about this defense if you're looking at someone you think can actually contribute.
Well, yeah, and whether it's Wagner, Okereke, Shaq Thompson, I don't think it's going to be that hard of a sell to one of those guys to join this team, because how many other teams that are going to be in contention are in need of adding that veteran linebacker with the opportunity to come in and have significant playing time? I think the Bengals could have one of the best situations for those guys looking to join a team that has a legit chance of going and getting a ring.
And you're a 35-year-old linebacker. There's no other team in the league with a Dexter Lawrence in front of you. He'll keep them clean.
That's a very good point. And that's why if I'm Bobby Wagner, pretty good fit. Now, he has a ring.
Yeah.
Bobby Okereke was in New York with Dexter Lawrence. So if they're on good terms, maybe that one makes sense. I think that a linebacker will be added. Will it be significant? Not sure. But by restructuring Joe Burrow's contract, one, the Bengals do something that they've never done. Two, they show everyone that, hey, we have the flexibility and the wiggle room here to maximize what we've already done and maximize this roster. And so hopefully that is a bunch of things. It's a linebacker, maybe it's a nickel corner, and certainly needs to be at least one contract extension, maybe multiple.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick, I would prefer her extension over addition just because of the trajectory that I think Dax and DJ are on and how those contracts could get after this season. DJ, obviously my number one priority.
If you told me 2 extensions, Dax and DJ,
would love it.
That would be...
They're the top 2 on my list.
But if it's just DJ, then I'm going to need you to make an outside move.
For sure. I was saying if I have to pick one,
sure.
My number one priority is the extension.
DJ Turner is better than the linebackers available. So totally got you there. Up next, the Bengals did something they've never done, and I'm not talking about the Joe Burrow restructure. We'll get to their history-making contract coming up next right here on First Word.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Well, the Bengals had a linebacker. Have you heard anything linebacker-wise, free agent-wise, of them being interested, or are they just really comfortable with Demetrius Knight, Barrett Carter, and what they have in that room?
I mean, I could see them adding. This is a time of year that's tricky. There's not a lot of free agency movement. Because it's in May and June, you kind of want to see what your young guys can do, see what you have, and then if you realize, oh, wow, these guys can't play, then you go sign somebody. Or if you say, oh, we might have something there. Like the Chiefs are a good example. They could use some receiver help, I would say. But, you got a young guy like Jalen Royals who looks pretty good. It's like, okay, well, maybe we can roll with this or at least go into camp and see what we have. So I could see Cincinnati adding a linebacker. I mean, hey, Jermaine Pratt's still out there. He was a good player for them. I could see him going back to the Colts where he was with Lou Anarumo and those guys, or maybe Cincinnati wants to entertain that. I know it didn't end the best, so maybe that's not the best route. You got Matt Milano still out there. The problem with the linebackers is it's a lot of aging players. So I think the teams that want to make a big-time upgrade would look at a trade, and there aren't teams really eager to give up like a Jordan Brooks in Miami unless you're giving up major capital. So for the Bengals' taste, especially with giving up the first for Dexter Lawrence, I don't know that they would make another big swing for a trade right now. So we'll see, but it depends on your level of desperation. So we'll see how they feel coming out of minicamp. And it wouldn't shock me, certainly, but nothing's on my radar right now for that.
In the room. Prediction time.
Okay.
Does DJ get paid before the start of the regular season?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, that's my prediction. Yeah, I agree with that. I think you have to. I think you kind of have to. If you're going to do all of this work, all this construction on this roster to change everything, why would you not, flip over that last stone and get that thing done? That has to be done. That, to me, was one of the priorities of the offseason. They've gone above and beyond all the other priorities of trying to fix this defense. Now that you've added all these pieces to make it better, there's this one thing that's saying, fix me, take care of me. Take care of that, and I think you've had a winning offseason. It's already been. You've got the team and the defense right now to go out there and get to where you want to go. But you still have to take care of
Let's keep things rolling here on First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11. Always open right here on The Crown, and you can catch us on RESN, that's Spectrum, Alta Fiber, also 19.3 digitally, live on YouTube, listen live on Mixler. You can also watch us live on X, Facebook as well. If you miss us, that's all right. Just check out First Word wherever you get your podcasts, where you'll also get Nat Tries That, the Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner, the Nat Jones Show in every weekday, noon to 1. It's the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley right here on The Crown. And we led the show off yesterday talking about Joe Burrow and that restructure and what it means the Bengals continue to do business differently, how they're all in. There's another example of that. The Bengals, they signed Cassius Howell on Tuesday. Second-round pick, 41st overall, someone that they weren't shy about admitting they had a first-round grade on. Well, now they treated him like a first-round pick, giving Cassius Howell a fully guaranteed contract. It's the first time in franchise history that they've signed a second-round pick to a fully guaranteed deal, and this sets a precedent here. They know what they're doing when it comes to this. Every second-round pick they have moving forward, especially if it's a top 41 pick, in his pick 33 through 41, they're going to want a fully guaranteed deal. This, courtesy of Over the Cap, if you're looking. I'm not shocked by this, that it eventually came to this. I'm a little surprised that they got this thing done on June 9th, fully guaranteed for Cassius Howell.
You're not shocked it's fully guaranteed for him?
Oh, I'm not either.
I think they had to. Yeah, I think they had to.
I don't think he would have signed if it wasn't.
Yeah. His second-round picks last year, it's why Demetrius Knight was slow to sign. All these second-round picks were pushing for it. And I thought 41st overall was right at the mark where it would be the line of demarcation. And if you're the Bengals, I mean, it's $6.8 million. Just get this done. It's a low contract, but they've second-round picks historically in the NFL up until the past couple of years have never gotten fully guaranteed contracts. So for the Bengals to adjust this quickly, it not be this long, drawn-out thing, it's just another example of them changing.
Yeah, the first 16 picks of this second round have fully guaranteed contracts now. So Howell going 41 didn't really seem like a question that the Bengals had to get there. The question to me was how long until they got there. And we saw this last offseason with the rookie holdouts and contract discussion bleeding all the way into training camp and getting close to the season. It was never a storyline that the Bengals could get off their back throughout the season. Shamar Stewart's injuries caught up throughout the season, cost him some production, and it was a conversation really the entire time. It is a phenomenal place to be, to not only have everyone reported for camp that we talked about last week, but also have all these rookies signed in the second week of June. Everyone in this facility has had the same talking points when talking about goals for this team, and it's Super Bowl. It's not to get back into contention. It's not to get back into the playoffs. It's to win a Super Bowl, and this is Super Bowl moves. It's making sure everyone is in there working as hard as they can, as long as they can throughout the offseason. And the way you do that is you handle the off-the-field stuff as quickly as possible. That's what the Bengals have found a way to do this offseason, and it's going to change the way they can operate this offseason program.
I have absolutely loved what the Bengals have done this offseason, and I was surprised they decided to have a fully guaranteed contract to Cassius Howell because, once again, they had never done it in team history. And how many times are we going to be saying that this offseason? Joe Burrow restructure, trading number 10 pick for Dexter Lawrence. What's next? Yeah. Is it continuing? I just never would have thought we'd be sitting here, and the Bengals have made those three huge moves and decisions this offseason. To your point, this is really signifying that they're not only going to be, okay with making the playoffs after missing it the last 3 years. They're going all in for that Super Bowl to be back as AFC champions. And this is just another step in that process. So love to see that they are being uncharacteristic this offseason, because I think this is only going to have that kind of ripple effect too, not only within the fan base, but honestly the locker room.
As excited as we all are for the Bengals to get outside of organizational norms and try this other stuff, which is great, it's great that they're just moving to be kind of like everyone else. The 16 picks in the second round getting fully guaranteed deals, it wasn't a huge conversation point for the other 15 because it was something that their fan bases and media expected them to do to get those players here. It's great that the Bengals are joining that group and not dragging their feet with things like this.
For sure. I think a couple of things. One, Cassius and his representation handled it a certain way. I'm going to be on the field for rookie minicamp. I'm going to be on the field. It's important to me, all of those things. I think that is a huge thing for the Bengals, and whether or not they do you a favor, and I don't think that's the right word or right way to describe it, but if you're going to go the extra mile, well, then maybe they will too. And I think they very much view it that way. I think that's why things got weird with Shamar Stewart. They were weird with Demetrius Knight last year too. Like, he did not participate day one of rookie minicamp. And people forget that because of the Shamar Stewart stuff it made it much different. Knight didn't either. And eventually he signed that waiver and he went through the process and participated. But to not have that lingering, not have it hanging around, it's huge. And then to take another step forward, to your guys' point, and give him a fully guaranteed deal. One, it shows how much they believe in him. Two, it shows this is where the NFL is going. Second-round picks are going to get fully guaranteed deals, which is great. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And three, it is just the latest thing that they've done. And now, in one day, they restructured Joe Burrow's contract, and they gave Cassius Howe a fully guaranteed deal. That is a heck of a 1-2 punch and another reminder of how differently they're operating. Now, it needs to continue. They need to continue this. It's not done. It's not over. Just because they do all these things this offseason, well, it's really hard to win a Super Bowl. And I don't know if it's going to end up in that or not. But when you're all in like this and you keep pushing and that gas pedal is pressed down and you're doing everything you can to win, eventually, if you have the quarterback you have, you should win and you can live with the results. And I think that's the difference between the past couple of years to this offseason. Maybe they don't win 12 games. Maybe they win 7 and something goes really, really wrong. I'm not going to be thinking about what they did in March, April, or May if they win 7 games. I'm going to be like, oh, well, why did it go wrong? Not, they just didn't do enough. In the past few off seasons, it's been they haven't done enough. They weren't proactive enough. They had these contract disputes. They had all these distractions. None of that is on the topics list here on First Word right now, which is a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely is. And so much of the conversation after 2024 and after last year as well was how can you fix this defense in a short period of time, right? Because there were so many questions and so many positions that weren't quite up to snuff to be a contender in the NFL. Well, the conversation going into this offseason was, well, I guess if they made a big-time trade for Myles Garrett or Max Crosby or Dexter Lawrence, or I guess if they restructured Joe Burrow's contract, I guess if they went out and signed the top safety, but no one in this city could talk themselves into actually believing the Bengals could make those moves or that they would do the swings necessary to fix this defense. Well, they have. We're sitting here on June 11th, and they've done so much more than even the most optimistic view of the Bengals offseason possibly could have been. And you can't give the front office enough credit for it.
You talk about those moves. I think fans would have been, floored and, happy with just 1 or 2 of those happening, let alone every single piece kind of falling into place like it has.
Like the Bengals answered every question on the defense that they attempted to answer, because obviously linebackers still floating out there, with the best possible solution. I don't think that can be overlooked either. It's not like they were just adding a piece here and there to answer or to fill holes. They went out to get impact players at those positions, and Cassius Howell is one of those. Adding Boye Mafe to the edge rush room is great, but Howell was a dominant player this year at Texas A&M. SEC Defensive Player of the Year, broke the sacks and tackles for loss record at Texas A&M, and now he's in that room as well. It's a great addition and another organizational norm they broke to go for production and not necessarily the body type.
No, you're right about the body type thing, which has been maddening. And he complements what they have really well. It should fit well. And I think, to me, this is, and I don't know why. I don't know what changed. I don't know what led to this, but just how easy is the wrong word, but how smooth things have gone.
Yeah.
Right? Like it has gone. And the Dexter thing kind of fell to them, but they were willing to say, hey, we are going to get this guy. Let's give up the 10th pick. Let's do it. And it fell to him in a sense that free agency was over, and suddenly he's available before the draft. But they took advantage of that opportunity. And that's all you can ask for, and I think that's all Joe Burrow can ask for. So when I tie it all together now, like this offseason, this could end up being the offseason, regardless if they win or lose, that keeps Joe Burrow in Cincinnati long term.
Yes.
Like, that's how significant this offseason could be, because he's going to look at it, and I think he looks at it, honestly, a lot like a lot of us look at it, where it's like, what are you doing to win? How are you doing it? Are you willing to leave no stone unturned? Well, they didn't leave many stones unturned right now. Maybe they have to sign a Bobby, but it's very low-hanging fruit in the grand scheme of organizational things that they need to do. Joe sees that. Joe feels that. In this Cassius Howell deal, it's just the latest example where a guy that's supposed to help you in the second round, that you expect to help you, that you had a first-round grade on, and you need him to be part of your pass rush that is different than your other edge rushers, well, you're not going to tinker with him and negotiate and get into the weeds with him. You're just going to get it done and keep it moving.
They've left no stones unturned because they decided to not bring back a stone. I thought that's...
There we go.
Had to.
In another missed tackle, did you know Stone?
No, but I think you said it perfectly. Everything feels like it's just gone so smoothly.
Yeah.
And when's the last time we felt like an offseason went smoothly for this team where there's no drama, there's, not really a lot of injuries that you're worried about. Guys are here, they're around, they're together. It's everything is really falling into place. And again, it's giving me such vibes of how 2021 went for this team. And there's a lot of parallels between the two. And I think with that, my expectations continue to grow for this team and especially the defense. I think I'm going to have a very short leash for this defense to make sure that they start off the season strong and don't revert back to any bad habits or old habits that they had from last year. And hopefully a lot of the guys like a Dexter Lawrence and Brian Cook really help with that.
Yeah, I'm getting to a point where I'm very, very optimistic about this defense. And it's not talking about, being above the middle, being average, giving Joe Burrow enough to compete. It's about being a really, really good unit. And I think that's something that's incredibly exciting. And if you would have told me that walking out of Paycor Stadium last year in Week 18 when they lost to the Browns, I probably would have called you crazy because there's no way I would have thought I'd feel as good about the Bengals roster as I do sitting here today. But they've done everything that realistically they could do to put the best team on the field in Week 1 this year. And that is a great feeling in Cincinnati.
It is. It's wild. Look at us.
It's wild.
Look at us talking Bengals June 11th, and it's all drama-free, exciting, and Joe Burrow making a big change. We'll dive into that change that Joey B is making next, right here on First Word.
My name is Jacob Tissot, and I'm a co-host of First Word from 7 to 11 every morning right here on the Crown Network, where we will break down the biggest stories in Cincinnati sports. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama, where I spent 4 seasons working for the football team as a student assistant, contributing to the 2020 National Championship and 3 SEC championships. I'm a Cincinnati native, a St. Xavier High School graduate, and will bring a local perspective and passion to covering the Bengals, Reds, and everything in between. I'm excited to have you join us on First Word.
If that's the plan, I would understand it. I'm not sure it is. They may be viewing it as we got to get to Hunter Greenland, and then we'll
Hunter Green
it.
changes a lot of things if he comes back and he's Hunter Green.
And so that's it. Because if you're saying Chase Burns is starting every other because of the innings limit, and you have Hunter Green, well, it feels much different. Every Burns start right now feels insanely important because you know that you're going to get a good start. And at some point, maybe that changes, but it is felt locked down. Like we were talking about cornerbacks, it feels locked down from a starter perspective that he's going to pitch well for you. So if you get that until Hunter Green comes back, and then you go every other, and Rhett Lauder's ready to go, and maybe Brady Singer starts singing. And well, you think about it, and you look at it, like Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott, they've started to come on. Abbott had a great month of May, fought through it yesterday, still good enough. And then Lodolo might have a swag back. It might
certainly
be back.
Looks that way.
Don't look yet all the way. Maybe leave one eye. But if that's the case, now suddenly that rotation is a strength. And Burns helped keep you above water, and now you can dial it back some.
Absolutely.
Keep him safe. Like that, I assume that's their plan. But man, that means that Lauder, need to see you Sunday. Pitched well yesterday. Five innings, no walks, 3 runs, 8 strikeouts in
70
AAA
pitches,
Louisville.
50 strikes.
It's good.
Pounding the zone.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's good.
Unreal.
I
He
thought you
doesn't
were
throw it like that.
I thought you were questioning.
Unbelievable.
And that was something pre-injury that we were noticing early in games.
Lose
was
the command.
Yes. So hopefully Lauder comes back. Hopefully Burns pitches well if he's on the mound. And hopefully that's their plan. I think I just solved it.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the west side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. Hit you with the hezzy. That hezzy left you guys wondering everything.
That was at least 10 minutes of silence.
Yeah.
At least.
At least 10 minutes of silence.
Gabe said go. And then I gave it like a good 2 seconds.
It was way longer than 2 seconds.
They were like, hello.
It feels
the show
long.
The
Minimum
show is
8
back.
seconds.
They're like, the show is back.
Start
James,
timing it.
We should.
You want to play catch?
What happened to...
What's going on here?
Yeah.
This ball needs to be inflated, man. I don't know. But I don't know why I left it here and now... Well, I should not have a
Now
ball
you have to throw
He just
it.
wants to
while
play.
we're live. Aaron. She said no. All right. Well, the guy who throws the ball for the Bengals, his name is Joe
What
Burrow.
a segue. Oh, my.
Just great.
Pull up Lard over there.
Yeah, really? You think so?
Well, good segue. Thanks. 7 to 11 every day. I'll be here all week.
Pain.
That was good. I like that.
That was good. All right. Joe Burrow setting the standard. Paul Blart sets the standard here on First Word, but Joe Burrow sets the standard for the Bengals, and he's trying to make a pretty big change. And no, not on the field, but off the field, and the camaraderie with his teammates. Some interesting comments he made to Men's Journal earlier this week, and my guy Marcus Hartman. He said, this offseason I'm trying to build that camaraderie a little more, and it's a work in progress. I'm going to consciously kind of get out of that mindset, try to push myself out of my comfort zone, and build some new and hopefully long-lasting relationships. Look, I think there's been some quiet talk, maybe some loud talk, however you want to describe it, but some discussion about Joe Burrow's leadership and how vocal he is or isn't at this stage of his life, entering year 7, given how he's viewed and all these young guys they're banking on, new faces they're banking on. I do think Joe Burrow needs to be a vocal leader. It isn't 2021. It isn't 2022 where he's on his rookie deal and yeah, he's famous, but he's not that famous. No, he's the most famous. He's the 3rd most famous player in the league, right? And I think it's Kelsey because of who his fiance is. 2 would be Mahomes, and 3 is Burrow. I think it's very, very clear. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be that and you're going to be an international star, you're going to have to be a leader in the locker room.
Absolutely, and there's not a lot of questions left about his play on the field. Obviously, wanting him out on the field a little bit more would be the only one there, but the leadership's been a talking point for quite some time, and obviously he's a good leader. He's focused on football. He does the right things. He leads by example, but the next step for him has and continues to be the vocal leadership in the locker room, and I think with how big the conversation's gotten over the last few years, it just continues to grow as the other questions about his actual play dwindle, because there's not a lot to talk about with Joe Burrow. When he's on the field, he's one one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. So have to focus on some other things. And I think with how much he's talked about Brian Cook, Dexter Lawrence, these other additions and their leadership on the defensive side of the ball, he's recognizing how important that is in the locker room for this team to get back to where everyone in that locker room thinks they belong. And he needs to be the catalyst of that, at least on the offensive side of the ball. But it doesn't stop there. He's the face of this franchise. He's getting $55 million a year. This is a guy who needs to be the leader of the team. And, you know, we talk about the head coach needs to have control of both sides of the ball. Well, Joe Burrow's the head coach of the locker room on the players' side of things. He needs to be in charge of everything. And in charge is probably the wrong word, but have his hands in the mix, have great relationships with people on both sides of the ball. That's a huge thing for me in Joe Burrow taking any kind of steps forward. And I think now, you know, he's about to turn 30. He needs to be that established kind of guy in the locker room.
I love hearing this out of Burrow. It's just so self-aware. It's so mature that he realizes this is a part of his game that he can improve on and be better on and help, you know, bring that locker room together, because there are so many new faces, so many new players in that room. And it's, like he said, something as simple as eating lunch with a different group of guys. When I was at the facility, you know, there for years, and especially when Sam Hubbard was on this Bengals team, our studio was located right across from the Bengals cafeteria. So you naturally just, you know, glance over, and very often Joe and Sam would have their table in the lunchroom, and they often ate lunch together. And so I love that it's just little things like that Joe Burrow wants to, you know, to do to get to know some of these new teammates. And I really think this is something that we could, you know, be sitting back on in October, November, of like this team being so close and it being a close-knit locker room. Well, it all starts back during these OTAs and, you know, these practice periods where the guys might have a little bit of extra time to kind of get to know each other and, you know, build that camaraderie and those relationships.
Earlier in the show, we talked about how the Bengals have left no stone unturned at this point, building their roster, adding to their roster. Joe Burrow is someone that I feel like, since he's gotten into the league, has left no stone unturned trying to get better.
For sure.
This is one of those steps. He needs to be that dude. He sets the tone. And he's why T. Higgins is still here. Like, there's no reason to sugarcoat it. Joe Burrow made sure that got done. Now, did he make T sign? Did he negotiate the deal? No, but he used his influence and his power. And if you're going to do that, you need to be able to make sure you're going to relate to your teammates as well and be that leader in the locker room. And here's the other element. The reason the Bengals are willing to trade the 10th pick, it's not because Joe Flacco was quarterback. It's because Joe Burrow was quarterback. And that's no knock on Flacco. It's just the reality of the situation. And so you don't want to look back 10 years from now if you're Joe. Be like, man, I wish I would have done this. This would have mattered. This would have made an impact. This would have been the difference. It's really, really hard to win. It's really hard to win. No one knows that more than Joe now. What 2020 was like when it stunk. His rookie year was brutal. And then early in his second year, I'll never forget this, he leads the comeback on Thursday Night Football against Trevor Lawrence, a rookie Trevor Lawrence. And the Bengals are really starting to break out, people feeling good about him, and he tells Trevor it gets better, because it did get better. And then it got even better, and they went to the Super Bowl. And then they won 10 straight games the following year and made it back to the AFC Championship game. Since then, 24-27, one season-ending injury, one serious injury that required surgery with the toe. It's really, really hard to win. And so for him to have the awareness to say, all right, what else can I do? Obviously, he needs to stay on the field and stay healthy, and he's working hard to do that. Goes without saying. But what else can he do? This is it. This is one of those things. And I think it's what Brady had. It's what Manning had. You talk to anyone that played with those guys, instant respect. Yes. Instant, oh my God. Like, I remember one of the first stories I heard about Brady. It was from Artrell Hawkins. And I worked with Artrell in 2012. It's been a long time, 2012. And he was like, when I got to New England, I showed up at 5 a.m. Tom was already dripping sweaty. He had already finished his workout. Like, Tom was just that. He set the tone, and that's it. And I'm not saying Joe needs to be staying the night at Paycor. That's not what I'm saying. But there are certain guys that set the tone. Joe is that, and he needs to be as much of a leader as he can be if this Bengals team is going to win a title.
Yeah, and you say instant respect, and Joe Burrow has all the respect in the world, in that building. But it's moves like this that only heighten that level of respect, and especially for some of these new teammates of his that aren't as familiar with him, who only know about him from what they've heard or what they've seen or played against. This goes such a long way, and I absolutely love it. I think this is phenomenal that Joe is self-aware in this regard too, and just shows his competitive hunger that he's all like constantly looking to better himself. We already know what he can do on the field, and you mentioned he's working hard to make sure he stays healthy and is injury free this season. But it's little things like this that just show how special and how elite he is.
Absolutely. And James, something you've brought up a lot in 21 and 22, and then again at the beginning of this offseason, is the Bengals with Joe Burrow being a destination for free agents. And these free agents this offseason, a little bit more established than the players that the Bengals have normally brought in the past, and Dexter Lawrence, Brian Cook. But when they're signing to play for the Bengals, that B is not at the front of their mind. It's Joe Burrow at the front of their mind. They're coming to play for him. And when they get here and step in the locker room, the thought process, I'm sure, is pretty quickly, when do I meet Joe Burrow? When can I start this relationship? Especially two guys who pride themselves on being leaders in the locker room. I was thrilled to see Joe Burrow having lunch with Dexter Lawrence and Sam Hubbard a couple weeks ago, and thrilled to hear him continuing to work on this, because I think the more and more he can ingrain himself with these new additions to the team, the more that can spread throughout the league. That Joe Burrow is that guy, that leader in the locker room, because everyone knows what kind of quarterback he is, and everyone wants to play with the quarterback, Joe Burrow. So as long as the stories continue to grow, that they also want to play with the leader, Joe Burrow, that's just going to keep going up the list of destinations that free agents want to come to.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's a really good point, and it's one we've talked about this. At some point, we will. The DeAndre Hopkins praise at the Fanatics flag football. Like Larry Fitzgerald praised him. I think it was Paul Dehner Jr. who wrote about that. Larry Fitzgerald praised him for what he, just how he was carrying himself during that event and talking and all those. Like, he's that guy. Now you got to get the ring.
Absolutely.
Like, and if it means doing all these little things team-wise, so the team is together. Not that they weren't together before, but it didn't feel like 21 and 22. You know this firsthand. It felt different.
It felt so different the last few years. Like that 21 and 22 teams, like they were close. It didn't matter if you were an offensive player or a defensive player. Like that was just a close locker room. Like I'll never forget just going down there at 7, 8 o'clock on a Tuesday or Wednesday. Guys were still there just hanging out, you know, playing cards with one another. The ping pong tables were a huge thing those years too. You didn't quite have that same feeling the last couple of years. And so it wouldn't surprise me if this, as we get through the course of the season, this team feels more like that 21 and 22 teams did.
Yeah, and I think that's a benefit of Joe Burrow having a couple, more miles under his tires, having that experience, knowing what works in a locker room, knowing what doesn't over the last few years relationship-wise. And maybe that's something he recognized this offseason was, hey, when we were playing in late January and February, this team was much closer than they were over these last few years. So that's why, maybe he's taking an initiative now because he recognizes that difference, which I certainly wouldn't put past him.
And you think the 21, and everyone remembers they beat the Vikings, and then I think they just like, oh yeah, and then they went on. It was up and down. I mean, they were 5-2, lose 2 games going into the bye, and it's shaky. It's up and down. It's all around, and they find a way to get to 10-7, win the division. At 10-6, that final game didn't matter at all. And then the next year, after making it to the Super Bowl, well, Joe's nicked up. They're 4-4 after that Halloween night loss in Cleveland, which nightmare. Chidobe Awuzie tears his ACL. Like, they were going through it, and then they just happened to rattle off 10 straight. 8 straight to get to 12-4. You have the DeMar Hamlin situation. They went through a lot of stuff that year, but ultimately they made it through all of it. And I think if you have that bond, have that camaraderie as a team, it helps you whenever you get challenged, whether it's week 1, week 10, week 15, or beyond. And they need that because it's going to be hard. No matter how many pieces they add, no matter if they add a linebacker or not, sign these guys to an extension or not, it's going to be hard to get back to where they were a few years ago, which was contending for championships.
So much of the question around these additions are great players have been added. Now we have to see how it meshes on the field. And a huge component of that is the relationships they have with each other. So if Joe Burrow is in the locker room pushing that these guys, need to be together and forming these relationships throughout the offseason, I'm sure that's permeating to other guys in the locker room that are having the same ideas here. I mean, how often has Burrow brought up Brian Cook's leadership throughout this offseason? I'm sure Cook is doing the same thing, that he needs to speed run some relationships with players in that locker room to get there before week 1 so they can be the best players they possibly can be. This is exactly what you want from your franchise quarterback and the guy that's supposed to be the leader of your team and your franchise, being the face of everything.
There's a reason adversity builds character, and I like to think the way the last 2 years have gone have been a part of what we've seen this offseason and what we've seen out of some of the leaders on this team. I don't think I don't think that will go unnoticed.
Yeah, I think the other element here, just to tie it all together, if Joe believes in what they have talent-wise, believes in Brian Cook is going to handle his business and be a leader, believes in Dexter Lawrence, well, naturally, he's going to want to buy in more and do more. So it goes hand in hand. It's all full circle, and we will see if it pays off for the Bengals. Up next, speaking of adversity, losing 7 of 9, that's adversity. I think Jacob Tissot might pitch for the Reds in the bullpen this weekend. We'll dive into the Red Legs coming up next right here on First Word.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
And there were 2 big trades on Monday, but the news of Monday, the big news, the reason why Joe Burrow is a happy man today is that guy named Myles Garrett. He's no longer in the AFC North. Myles Garrett traded to the Los Angeles Rams in a deal. As we were show prepping, we were reacting to the Ellie news and talking about that. And then Myles Garrett gets dealt to the Rams for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick, all in consecutive years, 27, 28, and 29, along with Jared Verse. My instant reaction was, heck yeah, at least Myles Garrett isn't in the AFC North and Joe Burrow doesn't have to deal with it.
Remember a few months ago when the conversation was Joe Burrow has to play Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and TJ Watt 2 times a year each? Wow. Where'd that go?
Where did that go?
It was quick.
Very
short-lived for
yes.
sure, and certainly great news for the Bengals. I do think this is a great trade by the Browns in terms of the return, and obviously it's a win for the Bengals, but to get a player like Jared Verse, who's a great young player at the edge rusher position, is a solid return, and then the 2027 first, and what will be a really, or what should be, it's not fair to speak too far in advance, but what should be a really good first-round draft class next year, and the Browns building a pretty exciting young core, but still missing the biggest piece, and the piece we all know you need to compete in the NFL, the quarterback. And so many questions at that position in Cleveland, not for a lack of money spent, but Myles Garrett onto the Rams, and the most talented roster in the NFL just gets a little bit more talented.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Hey, I'm Marisa Contipelli, one of the co-hosts on First Word and a features producer here on The Crown, where I will be out and about in Cincinnati bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City. Now, I know I'm from Cleveland, but I love my Cincy sports. I've been in Cincinnati for almost a decade now, spending the last 8 seasons with the Bengals as a team reporter and senior producer. I am so excited to be a part of the team here at The Crown, and I can't wait to bring you the latest from around the city.
What in the world are the Reds going to do about this bullpen? Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot, a.k.a. Biscuit, and Marisa Contipelli.
I thought we were going to make it an entire show.
Nah.
We were so close.
You wish.
So close.
All right, so what happened? The group text, Triscuits like popped off yesterday, and I wasn't. What did something come up with the Triscuits, or just
no?
Just paying homage to my nickname for you, Jacob Triscuit.
There we go.
Love it. With some cheese on it.
No, I don't. No
That's
cheese.
what we're going with?
No cheese.
The Reds bullpen needs a little more cheese.
That's true.
There we go. It needs a lot more cheese. It's called a segue.
Kinda.
No. They need a lot of things, because the Reds bullpen blew it yesterday, a 5-4 loss to the Padres. They were in position. They get it from Brady Singer. 6 innings, 2 runs, quality start. He's starting to sing again. They get it at the plate. Eugenio Suarez comes up big. JJ All Day Bleday comes up big. And the Reds were in position. And then that bullpen. Your guy, Tony Santillan, well, he does Tony things. And Chase Petty, well, he did Chase Petty things, gave up the game-winning homer to Fernando Tatis Jr.
Fernando Tatis Jr.'s second home run of the year to walk off the game and win the series. Manny Machado also had an RBI last night. He also had an RBI in Game 2. Those were his first 2 RBIs in the month of June. The Reds are just throwing out lifelines to these players that are struggling right now. Anyone could hit off this bullpen, and it's about as frustrating as it could be.
Brian Hayes, Matt McClain?
They might. Maybe they just, instead of sending him down to the complex league, just have him take BP against the Reds bullpen.
Oh, that is so brutal.
They could have some success, probably. Build the confidence.
Something would have to give. What would give?
Movable object meets stoppable force.
Yes. One gets moved and one gets stopped.
Yeah.
Tie. I don't know if you can have it, but I'd watch.
I would too. But that's how bad it's been right now for the bullpen. And it gets so bad that you're flying Chase Petty across the country, a starting pitcher, to try to close a game. And obviously that didn't work out well, but it's hard to have any kind of ill will towards Petty at this point. This is not a position he even plays or is supposed to be in. So it's hard to be in this organization spending so much money on the bullpen to try to fix it this offseason. And now in June, being this far away from any kind of product. I don't think it's an exaggeration at this point to say the worst unit in baseball is the Reds bullpen. Lineups, starting pitching, bullpen, the Reds bullpen is the worst unit in baseball, and that is not a good place to be.
Since May 1st, they have 11 bullpen losses. Team ERA for the bullpen over a 5.47. Something has to give, and just the amount of home runs that they've given up from the 7th inning around, the number of walks, that the average against someone in this bullpen has to step up. I thought we had seen glimpses of it from some of the guys. Like, thought Santillan was turning a page, thought Caleb Ferguson had been okay, and it's mind-boggling how everyone in that bullpen, there's just not a reliable guy you can really count on right now. And
Maxwell?
I don't know if we're going there yet.
Relax.
Can I ask
with the big
a
sugar.
couple of segments ago we were talking about a really horrifying stat that you had.
Yes.
I got to ask you to share it with our
and by
viewers.
fun I mean not fun at all. Per Fangraphs, a meltdown for a reliever is when win probability added is negative 0.06 or worse in a game. So negatively affecting your team's chance to win by 6% or more. The Reds bullpen has 35 meltdowns since May 1st. That's the most in the MLB.
And how many games have the Reds played in that time frame?
36. Yeah. They've played 36 games in that time frame.
All right, so 2 things. One, that's the worst news that you could have, because 35 out of the last 36 games, they have a bullpen meltdown. You're not going to win many games. And guess what? They haven't. They've won 12 games since May 1st.
Yeah.
And
it's not rocket science.
No, it isn't rocket science, but maybe pitching is. We'll dive into how the Reds can fix the bullpen coming up in just a second. Here's Terry Francona on Chase Petty, the loss. And honestly, he didn't mind the Chase Petty pitch that went for a home run. Here's what Tito had to say.
Yeah. He knew he was coming in that inning. And I told him before the game I would not bring him in a middle of an inning. So when we got Tony up for the 8th, we got him up so he could warm up kind of regular. I actually didn't think he made a real bad pitch. When the ball hit, I was kind of looking at my lineup card like, okay, we're going to have an open base. What do we want to do? I didn't think that ball was going to get out. Well, I think they're handling themselves really well. They compete every day. The results are not what we want. There's no getting around that. I'm not going to sit here and say a month ago I love these guys and now we've lost some games and I hate them, because that's not how I feel. We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle together. We're going to figure it out together. And, got a guy like Tony Santillan who's pitched 3 out of 4, and he's in here wanting to fight me so he can pitch today. That shows me you guys care.
Look, this bullpen struggling. The bright spots, well, it'd be J.J. Bleday for sure as he continues to do what J.J. all day does. All-star?
He also had a great throw from left field to gun down a runner at home, too.
Yeah, he did, for sure. And Brady Singer, well, that's why he only had 2 runs earned, had 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So the command was there, gave up some hits, but got out of those jams. Overall, man, Brady Singer starting to sing. So that's the optimism.
Great to
that's
see.
the optimistic side.
Yeah, certainly great to see.
This is the negative side. Go ahead.
No, this is the negative side, is they keep losing and they keep falling in the standings.
They
do. One more from Brady Singer. Didn't allow a home run in yesterday's game. The first game he has pitched where he has not allowed a home run since April 19th.
Oh my.
It's a lot.
There's a month between April and June.
Is there?
There's a whole month in there.
I mean,
and we're not too far off from June 9th.
Not 9 days away from 2 months.
Yeah.
That's where it was at for him. So he would have gotten one more start after yesterday. So if he had given up a home run, that would have been 2 months, allowing a home run in every start. So step in the right direction. That's encouraging. Here's the problem. The bullpen is still the bullpen. They're blowing games. They have to fix this. And I don't know if you can fix it with one player. Other guys are going to have to pitch better, obviously. But I also think Mr. Outside Hire, you need to go find someone. And if you're Nick Krall, you probably shouldn't have gotten any sleep. You need to find some help in this bullpen or help for this bullpen. Righty, lefty, doesn't matter. You need reliability.
Yeah.
You need an arm. And that's where I'm coming from here is I'm not being picky, and I'm not asking for a Chapman or one of these big-time names that are going to be on the block. You need someone that you can throw in a close game.
Chapman?
I would love Chapman here. And that's one of the most frustrating things about this is for the second year in a row, the Reds are in a position where if they were in contention, there is a world where they could trade and bring Aroldis Chapman back to close down throughout the summer months and the closing stretch after the trade deadline. But with the way the bullpen's constructed right now, they're not going to get to the trade deadline with the ability to have the conversation whether or not to be buyers or sellers. The decision will be made for them by the record this bullpen forces them to have. And obviously, it's not just the bullpen. Singer was great yesterday, but the starters have struggled over time this season. The lineup has had weeks where they've been completely non-existent, and that has all coupled into the struggles the Reds have had over the last month and a half. But there's only one of those groups that prevents you from really having a chance in any game, and it's the bullpen where they are right now. You need someone else to really thrive if the bullpen's not gonna throw it away. So that's where I'm coming from here. Is I just want the Reds to get to a point where you can actually have a conversation. Should we buy? Should we sell? If not, if they don't make an addition soon, they're not gonna ever get there.
Yeah, it's got to happen soon. Hopefully before tomorrow and before the series, and we'll preview the series tomorrow. But clock is ticking. You're 32 and 35. You're 9.5 back. You've lost 4 straight series that you could have won. They could have won the Royals series. They could have won this series. They gave up the lead 3 times against the Cardinals. It's bullpen. You got to find a way to fix that. And I get it. You addressed it this offseason. You thought you had the fix. You thought you'd have a solid bullpen. But it hasn't been the case. So now you need to pivot. And how do you pivot? How do you address it? It's going to be big. They're only 3 games out in the wild card. They're in striking distance. The season isn't over, but it will be if they don't make a move.
5 games below the Cardinals in the win column, 6 games above the Rockies in the win column. The Reds are in a point right now where they need to decide where they're going to go. Are they going to actually compete for a wild card spot with the rest of these teams, maybe get back in the divisional hunt, or do they belong in the Mets, Giants, Rockies conversation of the teams that are just abysmal throughout this summer? And I think we're getting to a point where if they don't make a change soon, they're in that group.
And that's why these next 2 series are going to be so key and critical for this Reds team. And I don't even know if necessarily must-win series, must-sweep. It might be at this point. And I hate even saying that, but you have the Diamondbacks coming to town Friday, and like James said, we'll do a heavy preview into that series. But they're just 1 game above 500, and then you have the Mets, who are 29 and 38 on the season. You have to win against teams like that coming in, and I would hate for us to be sitting here next week talking about another series or 2 loss, and that would truly put the Reds at sellers at the deadline.
If we get to the end of that Mets series and the Mets are ahead of the Reds in the wild card standings, the decision has been made. Buyers or sellers.
Yeah, that's fair. It is fair, and the decision needs to be made. Add right now.
Yes.
Add right now. Try. You're not going to give up anything crazy anyway. We know
That's
that.
what it is.
But we
Just
know
try.
that they're not going to give up something crazy and mortgage the future.
Zach McCambley has pitched 3 innings for the Reds over the last 5 days, and they traded DFA to re-signs for him. You don't have to give up something. We need arms in the bullpen. It's not being greedy.
No, it's not greedy. 32 and 35. I'm greedy. I'm starving. You need a bullpen arm. We'll continue with a little bit more Reds. We also have a preview of an exclusive interview previewing the World Cup. We'll get to that as well. And a little NBA Finals talk. The alien choked in New York. We'll get to that next on First Word.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
So he then gets back into the States, and that's when he hooks up with the Skyline family.
Well, they knew each other growing up.
Okay, yeah.
Down in downtown, and the Lamborghini's family, it wasn't corporate, it was their family and their recipes. Asked my dad if he'd be interested, and he leapt at it. He couldn't wait. He jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, well, he's chef by trade, like you said, and now this opportunity to...
Loved the product, loved the simplicity of the product, loved the speed, loved all of it.
That's got to make it a lot easier when you really have a specific, belief and an enjoyment of the product itself. That probably helps with the plan there.
We loved cooking and eating, and he loved that concept. He loves Skyline's concept.
Yeah. Does the actual process of it, like you said, the ease with which it's, it may be easier to get something on the plate in front of people versus other types of restaurants, that played a role for him?
The simplicity of our concept is really special.
Yeah, and that's what's really sort of helped it take root, I think, over the years, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Are they also, I'm always interested in talking with people involved in various levels of business, whether it's a family business or something that they're looking to pass on. I mean, the idea of stewardship plays a big role. How does that look with your kids? Are they looking to move into?
The youngest is graduating from Ohio State on Mother's Day.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. And he worked as an intern for a company in town and did not like office work.
Okay.
So he said, Dad, I think I want to do what you do. So he's going to be coming in at the ground level. You have to learn to crawl before you do the rest. So he will start and work with us and see where it takes him.
Well, I mean, that's how you came up, right? Being an 8-year-old wanting to follow Dad to work and helping unload the trucks and everything.
Another rebound rundown update, this time for the Cincinnati Bearcats under first-year head coach Jared Calhoun coming over to Clifton from Utah State. And Jared Calhoun having to put together an entirely new roster this year for Cincinnati. Not a single returning player from last year's Bearcat team. Tylen Riley, the headline piece for this roster, a transfer in from Tulsa, the point guard of this group. Miles Colvin, a transfer from Wake Forest, somebody who has national championship game experience from his time at Purdue in that game against UConn. Tyler Tejada out of the CAA from Towson. Riley Allensbach from George Mason. Travion Carson, Jaden Hastings. Eric Mahaffey, the local product from Moeller. Spent his first year at Akron, now finds his way down to UC, plus 3 players who already have experience in Jared Calhoun's system from Utah State. That is a fantastic balance. You have to have a group that has played for a head coach before. Jared Calhoun has that. Much more coverage of the Bearcats on the Rebound Rundown. Stay tuned.
First word rolls on. Hit him with the hezzy. And then hit the fadeaway. That's what the Knicks did late in the NBA Finals Game 4. We'll get to that coming up in just a bit. But if you're just joining us and you want the latest on the Bengals, on the Reds, on all things sports, well, we are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, 7 to 11. You can watch us live on YouTube, X, Facebook, the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. That's $9.99 on Spectrum, $2.53 on Alta Fiber, 19.3 on digital. Also listen live on Mixler, where you can also catch The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley every single weekday, noon to 1, right here on The Crown. And you can catch the entire network on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, with the Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner, the Nat Jones Show, and of course, First Word right here wherever you get your podcasts. And you guys had the chance to chat with a soccer legend, someone that we know here in FC Cincinnati circles, but ahead of the World Cup, you got to catch up with Jeff Cameron.
We did, and it was great. He was able to squeeze us in. He is a very busy man this time of year. He was telling us all about, he's going to be traveling around a ton, going to be doing some work for ESPN for their World Cup coverage as well. And Jeff had the time yesterday to talk with us, and we're going to have the full interview for you coming up on tomorrow's show. But here is a little sneak peek into some of the conversation we had with Jeff, and we had to make sure we asked him this question before we left. So we'll let the guys take it one game at a time. I'm not going to let you take it one game at a time. Give me your prediction for maybe how far the U.S. will make it in this World Cup, and then big picture, who do you see maybe hosting up, the final trophy when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I got to go with the U.S. all the way. But if I was going to say another team, another country that just has something special right now at their moment, they've been resilient over these last couple of years. I mean, France is the favorite, you could say, more than Argentina. But I kind of have Portugal kind of sneaking in there a little bit just because of the adversity that team has faced over these last couple of years. Losing one of their main stars on the national team, and then really kind of playing for him and stepping up and playing for Ronaldo as well. And they have a very deep squad, and I think they've shown that through the qualifiers. So, you got to say them, but I'm going USA all the way.
Very excited to play the rest of our interview with Jeff for you on tomorrow's show, because the U.S. kicking off their World Cup tournament group play.
Come on.
Paraguay at 9 p.m. A little bit of a later kickoff, but they're going to be kicking off from Los Angeles.
That's what I'm 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock for two of these three group games.
It's Friday, bro. It's Friday.
Just get your 48 beers lined up for
There we go.
tomorrow's match, and you're fine.
That's right. I'm starting the 48 too early. I might not make it to 9, so we're going to have to push that back a little bit.
48? I'm excited. I have not seen the full interview yet, so I'm excited to get all the analysis that Jeff has, and I really hope U.S. make a run here.
It'd be great.
Gotta win the group, right?
Gotta
win the group.
I hope so.
Okay. They're favored to make it out of Group D.
I
would think so.
Gotta win U.S. soccer pressure. I hope.
Yeah, and we asked Jeff about that, so we'll get his take on the show tomorrow.
There we go. That's called a tease. Let's get into the NBA, where, man, I mentioned the alien choking in the Big Apple. I'm stunned that the Spurs, I'm still stunned.
Yeah.
And the New York Knicks complete a miracle comeback somehow, some way. OG Anunoby with the game-winning bucket. The only lead change of that game, 1.2 seconds left. Stole Jacob's point that he wanted to make. Doesn't matter, because the Knicks up 3-1 after an amazing miracle comeback in the Garden.
I think the key for the Spurs is to just not have a double-digit lead. This is the fifth double-digit lead they've blown this postseason, tying the most in the single playoff run, tying the San Antonio Spurs back in 2003. But no, to me, guys, this just feels like it's the Knicks. I mean, I do not see the Knicks now losing 3 games in a row. I think this game really was the deciding factor, and it's going to be the New York Knicks at the end of it.
Yeah, pack it in. Knicks in 5. This one's wrapped up. Knicks are going to win this series in San Antonio on Saturday. When you blow a lead like that, you can't overcome it. We saw it in the Eastern Conference Finals after Game 1. When you have a Game 1 so clearly, like the Spurs did there with 9.5 minutes left, I think it is a very, very tall task to turn around and win again, much less try to win 3 in a row. I think this one's done. The Spurs couldn't lose like that. They could have lost last night and still won this series. They couldn't lose like that.
Real quick. They keep highlighting the 29 points, 9 minutes to go in the third. They were up 20 with 9 in the fourth.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like they went on a crazy run, cut it to 13 going into the fourth, and then it kept it going. No, up 20, less than 10 minutes to go. Should be blouses, should be over.
Yeah.
Was not over. One of the most wild games ever. I still don't think it's over.
Okay.
And we can preview that tomorrow.
Okay.
We can. By the way, if you're just joining us, well, Cassius Howell agreed to his deal on Tuesday. We now have those contract details. He's the first second-round pick in Bengals history to get a fully guaranteed contract. $6.8 million. That's that Triscuit money.
Very excited to see the Bengals doing this, the first 16 picks
You're
of the second round this year.
I didn't know that was Triscuit money.
I didn't either. I'd love to see those checks at some point. But the first 16 picks of the second round fully guaranteed this year. It's nice to see the Bengals playing ball. I mean, I don't think it's too much of a surprise that pick 41 got a fully guaranteed contract here, but certainly is a shock that the Bengals are offering a fully guaranteed contract this early in June. Could have seen this dragged out all the way through the summer into training camp, been a big story. Nipped that in the bud right away, got this done, got Cassius Howell on the field. Just goes to show how all in they really are.
First second-round pick to be fully guaranteed contract, restructured Joe Burrow's contract for the first time in team history, traded the number 10 overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. What's next?
Who thought the second week of June would have been such a big week in the Bengals offseason?
Big week. Love it. Hopefully there's more big weeks. There's a big game tonight, Stanley Cup Game 5. Go
hockey.
Carolina. Yeah.
This series has been awesome.
Go that hockey.
This is go hockey.
I hope it continues for sure. We'll have the latest on that. We will have, well, a Reds series preview. The Reds are off today, which means it's the perfect time to thank Gabe, Casey, Rodney, Adam, David, Aaron, Josh, and you for watching and listening. For Jacob Tissot and Marisa Contipelli, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to First Word.